Yes, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. A nice chilled out day today of all the scores as they go on. And it's the 3 o'clocks have just kicked off. So just have a little bit of football chat. If anyone wants to come on, I see Nick in the chat. I see Danny Kiriakou in the chat. If anyone fancies coming on, just let me know. And I'll give you the link. We've got games everywhere today. I mean, for example, in Italy, it's half time and it's Verona 0, Atalanta 4, and Matteo Rettatigui has got a hat trick for Atalanta. So you've got that. Barry's team are playing against Empoli, AC Milan at 5 p.m. But the main games today, we've got FA Cup games. We have got Coventry Ipswich, Everton Bournemouth, Preston Wickham, Southampton Burnley, Stoke Cardiff, and Wigan versus Fulham that are all playing right now. Then in the Championship, we've got Norwich v Derby and Sheffield United v Portsmouth, and then lots of League Two and League One and League Two games, as well as games in France, Germany, Italy, and Spain. So it's all happening. It's all happening, isn't it? And peacefully, it's lovely because Tottenham Hotspur aren't playing, so they can't ruin everyone's day. There he is. Look at my man Nick. My man Nick from Nick's Football Club. Love it. How you doing, bro? Always like watching your videos. You don't mind, do you? You love it. You absolutely love it. Danny Kiriakou, I'll send you the link if you want to come on in a bit. You're more than welcome. Mark Sheriff, if you fancy coming on, it's just a relaxed score show with the goals as they go in. You're more than welcome to come on. Listen, anyone is, I just love a little bit of a football chat. So far, the only goal up and down the United Kingdom from the 3 o'clocks. Falkirk 1, Partick Thistle 0, and that is Scott Arfield, who I believe used to play for Rangers. Let me send this to Danny Kiriakou. I've just booked, by the way, for anyone that cares, not that you would, I've just booked Portugal for my friend's 40th at the end of April, and I've just realised that I will miss the Liverpool. I mean, I'll be able to see it out there, but I won't be able to do the watch along for Liverpool versus Tottenham on the 26th of April. So for 3 days, I'm going to be in Portugal for a 40th. Oh, God, I'm getting old. When my 40th was 2 years ago, but when you're starting to go to other people's 40ths, you are getting old. Just had that. The dogs have just had some meat. They're now asleep next to me. I've got some drinks, got some orange Fanta, I've got some water. Sue Smith's on the telly box. What more can we want? And then later on, if we're still going, we've got Birmingham versus Newcastle, which should be a really good game. And then we have got Brighton versus Chelsea. So listen, there's no rules. The wife's away. She's at her dad's for the night. So she tells me. And no, just kidding. If you are watching, wifey. And it means that for me, I'm chilled, and I'm all yours for the rest of the day. No goals anywhere so far. I'm just looking at some of the FA Cup games, seeing if can there really be any shocks. You've got Everton, Bournemouth. I don't know if that would be a shock either way. Preston Wickham. Championship versus League One, Southampton versus Burnley, which is bottom of the table versus kind of top of the table Premier League Championship. And then you've got Stoke Cardiff, Championship. Wigan could knock out Fulham possibly. So we've got some games going on today. But Tottenham tomorrow away at Aston Villa. I've just eaten. I'll be honest, I just had a roast. I've got a really nice sort of gourmet cafe near me, which does a nice roast dinner. And I get it more than I should. My favourite food of all time is a roast dinner. So when I have some meat, the dogs have some meat. So it's all good. It's all good. There's Michael Dawson's on the telly box. First goal has gone in League Two. Grimsby 0, Carlisle 1. For anyone that cares about League Two. This time last week, I was watching Bromley play against Grimsby. And Grimsby won the game, but weren't very good. And here they are, winning 1-0 away at Grimsby Town. Let me know, guys and girls, what do you think? Are there going to be any shocks this weekend so far? We've had Millwall beating Leeds. I don't know if that is a shock really in terms of the team that Leeds put out. Man City coming from 1-0 down to win 2-1 at Leyton Orient. What a really good gutsy display from Leyton Orient. And for some reason, YouTube have decided to investigate my stream earlier to let me know whether or not they're going to pay me for that stream. I don't know what happened. It was just me and Lubo talking about football. So I'm not sure what they've seen that we've done that wasn't right. But anyway, there it was. Smash the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you very much to absolutely everybody. Where are we? Yes. Yeah, I know. And the shame of it is it's going to go down as an own goal. And Lubo hates that I was saying that. In the Championship, Sheffield United 0, Portsmouth 0. A really big game there at Bramall Lane. In the non-league, in the National League, it's York 1, Woking 0. Josh Stones with a goal there. Ian JD saying, yeah, they would have beaten us if we had played them. Oh, Portsmouth out. Oh, Portsmouth. Sorry, they're just showing it here. Portsmouth went through on goal. Oh, you've got to be able to round the goalkeeper there. Poor. Should be Portsmouth 1-0 up at Sheffield United. And let's see what's happening at the top of that table, shall we? So if we actually go to the Championship, let's look at the live standings. So Sheffield United can close the gap to 3 points today. 3 points today they can close the gap to. At the moment, they're 4 points behind Leeds United and 1 point above Burnley, but a long way to go in that game there. Big up to you, Corey. Hope you're well, my man. Ellie Hoiberg said it'll be a shock for me if we knock out Villa tomorrow, Savva. I think Villa will batter us just like Liverpool did. Listen, the crumb of comfort that I am taking is that Ollie Watkins will not play. But you just know, don't you? You watch. I bet Marcus Rashford starts and has an absolute blinder. You know it. You can see it. Big up all in the chat. I hope you're all Ange out. Me, I'm Ange out. Hands up if you're Ange out. I've been Ange out for well over a year now. This is not a new thing for me. I've never been so right about how shit a manager is. Richie Wellens mudded Ange today. Ange got a bit umpy, didn't he? He said he's had his 5 minutes of fame. Well, so have you, Ange. Go away. You've had your 5 minutes of fame. Paul has said Liverpool might have to try harder against Plymouth tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely. In the FA Cup 4th round, we've had our first goal from the 3 o'clocks. It is Stoke City 0, Cardiff 1. Ruben Colwill with the goal. Ruben Colwill with the goal after 8 minutes. So Cardiff taking the lead at Stoke. And in the Scottish Cup, Falkirk 1, Partick Thistle 1. Falkirk took an early lead, but Logan Chalmers has equalised after 10 minutes for Partick Thistle. So it's all going off there. Ange out. Yes, yeah, hands up. Yeah, out. If we can get a corner, will be a shock for me. Sorry, they're just showing. What goal is this? Let's have a look. Oh, great save, keeper. What a good save, whoever that is in whatever game. That is Notts County Vin Walkham. What a save, the goalkeeper. Ange out from Queen Ellie Hoiberg. Ange out. Big up Plymouth. Here he is. Mark Sheriff with the big ups for Plymouth. Sam I said, you know what's crazy? Ten Hag got cooked more than Ange. Man United fans have got standards. Tottenham fans don't. Good goal. Who scored that? Oh, he's offside. I'd like to see that again. In the National League, Altrincham 1, Braintree 0. Alex Newby with the goal for Altrincham. A ground I've been to a few times, actually. So Altrincham 1, Braintree 0. And in the Norwich game, Norwich has scored, but he's offside as well. There's offside flags going up all over the shop. Ange out, Levy out, Enoch out. Absolutely. Bluebirds. The Bluebirds. Go on, Cardiff. The Bluebirds. John Thompson said, will the Anginas call it regression if we lose tomorrow? After all, Ange has beaten them before, so surely losing is going backwards. John, all I know is the regression under this manager has been so crazy. It's unreal. No Ackers today. I didn't fancy anything, Ryan. I'll save it for tomorrow. I don't really like FA Cup Ackers, if I'm honest. You never know what team people are going to put out. So no, I've not gone for an Acker today. So no Ackers from me. No Ackers from me at all. Where are we? No Ackers from me at all. Not many goals going in at the moment. I'm sure they will as the afternoon goes on. There's lots of games all over the country today. Where are we? Did you hear what Ange said in the press conference? I quote, I don't really assess the opposition. Mate, I can't listen to him. I've never felt this out of love with my football club as what Ange has made me feel. I find him so unlikable. I've said it before. I find him really unlikable. There's nothing about him where I go, that's my manager. I find him very unlikable. In Scottish League One, Stenhouse Muir 1, Queen of the South 0, Blair Alston. That's a great name, Blair Alston with a goal on 12 minutes. Coventry versus Ipswich, by the way, has kicked off 10 minutes late. So they have just kicked off, and that's the game that Michael Dawson is watching on Gillette Soccer Saturday. But don't go to them. You might as well stay with me. I'm much better than Gillette Soccer Saturday. I get your comments in as well. Good afternoon to you, Ryan. Hope you're well. Oh, by the way, Ipswich have scored in that game. In the first minute, if I'm not wrong. It looks like it's Coventry 0, Ipswich 1. And this is the problem when you don't have the... No, it is Coventry 0, Ipswich 1. George Hurst, who's coming for Ipswich today, has got a penalty in the second minute of the game. Coventry 0, Ipswich 1. So Ipswich take the early lead in their game. Johan, I said, great, I'm losing my Ackers because Stoke are losing. It's only early doors, don't you worry. Ethan Bates, big up to you. I said, fans will be looking at Ange's tenure a year or two from now, secretly saying, what the F will we thinking? Mate, these fans are shameless. Do you know what? When we beat Brentford, like our first league win in 8 games, there were people going into YouTubers' chats that like Ange saying things like, oh, I bet Savva and his negative crew weren't happy. You know, when you think, are you kidding me? This is 1 win in 8, and you're going on as though we're top of the table. This is madness. Paul Van Beek has said, the mad thing is when we lose tomorrow, I don't think he'll get sacked. I genuinely don't think this man's ever leaving Tottenham. I think I will die before this manager leaves Tottenham. He seems to be liked. And what I would say is it's most of the football fans that don't have football channels to talk about football that like Ange. I'll call it out for what it is. If that offends any YouTubers, come on to my show. It's absolutely fine. I see the people that go, oh, no, don't worry. People say, oh, everyone thinks they're a manager. Everyone talks about tactics. Well, yeah, why wouldn't we talk about tactics? We're football fans. All of the ones who don't care about that sort of thing love Ange. In Scottish League 2, love the name of this team. Bonnie Rig Rose 1, Peterhead 0, Mark Ferry with the goal on 14 minutes. Dan Skyliner said, Ange is so very pig-headed. I mean, that's being polite if we're being brutally honest. Hang on. Sorry, just checking the dog. He's not very well. Ethan Bates has said, odds on the goalpost being moved too, but we're still in Europe once we go out tomorrow. Yeah, I've seen all of these YouTubers have gone from this nonsense that they spout. The quad is on to now it's the treble is on. They're utterly, utterly embarrassing. It's not, I mean, why have a football channel when you don't want to talk about football and be honest? I don't get it. Truly, I don't get it. Hey, but it is what it is. Nick, you should be sorry. As an Aussie, I apologise. Nick, you know me, mate. I've got a lot of Australians that like me and a lot more that don't. But big up to you. I think you like me, so that's all that matters to me, Nick. Big up to you. Who's that? Please don't be knocking on my door with a parcel. Does anyone else have that? You know when you see these vans that go up and down delivering parcels and you think, oh, don't be mine. Because when it does, the dogs go mad. I have to go down and get the door. First world problems. Please don't be for me. Please don't be for me. I haven't ordered anything. So I say if it's for me, it's for the wife. Please don't be for me. It doesn't look like it is. It looks like it's from my next door neighbour. No, none of these games are on TV at 3 o'clock. The 3 o'clocks aren't on TV, but we do have Birmingham versus Newcastle, which I can stay live for if people want. Daniel said, take him back, Nick. Absolutely, take him back. Yeah, we beat Brentford onwards to the top 6. He can go back to Melbourne victory. Nick, I've never understood. I've never seen such a bad manager get so much love. I've never got it. I've never got this love for this man. He's never done well in his career in the top league. No one's taken a chance on him until this stage. He is so horrible with the press. Like, I'm embarrassed that he's anything to do with Tottenham. Oh, mate, for sure. Yeah, they call me out all the time. It's fine. It's funny. They all call me out. They'll never come on and talk to me. Absolute bottle jobs. Johan has said, I need Stoke, Norwich, Preston, Dortmund, Celtic final, Livingston, Lille. Wow, that's an acca and a half. In Scotland, Dundee 1, Adrionians 0. Clark Robertson has scored. Pilcher said, Lancashire got 25 minutes of the baggies today. Must have been nice to be on a winning team. And by the way, Bonnie Rig Rose have conceded. Another good name. Bonnie Rig Rose 1, Peterhead 1. Oliver Colotti has scored. Oliver Colotti. Montrose 1, Alloa 0. Owen Sturton. Stewie. Wait, Stewie. Stewie. Sorry, 1 second. Stewie, come here. Stewie. He's annoying me. The pug is annoying me right now. He's just up and about and being lively. In League One, Lincoln 1, Cambridge 0. Freddie Draper with the goal. Paul Van Beek said, do you think the players are too scared to get injured under Ange and are chilling in the treatment room? Mate, I wouldn't want to rush back and play this football under him. I completely get it if the players don't want to rush back. He has ruined a lot of players this season. He's ruined it for a lot of fans. But hey, some have the manager they want. Tony has said, real men put their hands up and admit they were wrong about Ange. End of discussion. Yeah, that's not going to happen though, is it? Some people have been so wrong that they can't now just say, you know what? We move on. We get a new manager. 1 second. 1 second. I'm just going to open this door. What do you want, Stewie? It's all right. It's all right. Hey, you sit down. You sit down. Good boy. You don't need to go as well. Okay, maybe you do need to go as well. Right. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. The dogs run the house, though. They dictate what happens. Subdue Light said he blatantly just isn't a Spurs manager. We have regressed so much. By the way, Frank Lampard's Coventry City have pulled it back after 7 minutes. Coventry 1, Ipswich Town 1, and the goal scorer is Joel Latiboudaire. Joel Latiboudaire has scored for Coventry City. In League One, Burton 1, Blackpool 0. Roman Burrell has scored. I should have a job with Sky Sports, shouldn't I? I truly should have a job with Sky Sports. Daniel said, let's be honest, there's a reason why no Australians have managed in the Premier League until this fraud. Listen, I don't care that he's Australian. This has got nothing to do with Australia. For me, he's just a crap manager wherever he's from. And isn't he Greek? Isn't he Greek like me? I just think he's a bad manager. I hope Stewie gets better soon. It's Frank that's not well. It's not Stewie. Stewie's good as gold. And for anyone that had Stoke in their acca, Stoke 0, Cardiff 2. Yusuf Salek has scored for Stoke City. Stoke 0, Cardiff 2. So lots of goals starting to go in now. Brad said, I agree, Ange needs to go, but Savva has just been too harsh with him. How? He's been dreadful. Why have I been too harsh? Maybe you're just too soft. Why is me having standards harsh? Why is me having to watch my club go so far backwards harsh? I don't get it. He's been crap. What you mean is I've called it right about this manager for well over a year now. People don't like that. Big Up Nick has said he tore it up here with 2 clubs in the A-League, did well with the national team. At Yokohama, one at Celtic. He's now under the pressure. Yeah, and he's got no way of changing it. Yes, he is, unfortunately. Yes, he is still our manager. Subdue Light said you're realistic, down to earth with an opinion, Savva. So many are in cuckoo land. Yeah, listen, Danny, I sent you the link. I think it's all right, man. Whenever you want to come on, listen. I think that the difference with this, mate, is I'm all for those fans that want to get lost in their own hype and want to dream. I've got no problem with that. But this has gone beyond that now. This has got to the stage where it's absolutely, utterly embarrassing. And they're still going, oh, I don't blame Ange. Well, why not? Oh, the injuries. Well, most of the injuries are Ange's fault. What are we doing here? It's just absolutely ridiculous. It's not a coincidence. Everton 0, Bournemouth 0 after 21 minutes. So the All Premier League FA Cup tie is 0-0 at the moment. Brad has said, I wouldn't mind letting Ange go, even though I personally give him a chance until May. So, Brad, did you not see what he did before the players got injured? It's almost like everyone like you just forgets how bad he's been. It doesn't matter that the facts and the evidence show you how bad he is. Let's just keep him. Yeah, let's just keep him till May. Why not? Let's just keep doing what we're doing. Absolutely. Scott, we agree on this one. It's nothing to do with his nationality. He's just crap. He could be English. He could be American. He could be Japanese, Spanish, Argentine. I don't care. Gareth said, at least you're honest. Yeah, Gareth, but a lot of Spurs fans don't like that I'm honest about my team. They really don't like it. Hey, it is what it is. Miss Bunny has said the fans have no cut-off point where Ange are the ones that piss me off. Zero standards. I agree. Many have changed. Have changed. By the way, there's goals going in. Wigan 0, Fulham 1 in the FA Cup. So Wigan, who won the FA Cup, God knows how many years ago now, but Wigan 0, Fulham 1, and there's been a goal at Everton. Everton 0. The Bournemouth machine marches on. Bournemouth 1, another team with multiple injuries, but another team that are really well coached, well drilled. So goals going in. The Bournemouth goal was Antoine Semenyo from the penalty spot. And I'll let you know the Fulham goal scorer in a second. But Antoine Semenyo with the goal for Everton. The Fulham goal was scored by Rodrigo Muniz. And a man with two first names has equalised, put Partick Thistle in front of Falkirk. Brian Graham, never trust a man with two first names. Mickey Mouse has said Spurs fans love delusional. Yeah, absolutely they do. And a goal that's really important at the top of the championship. Sheffield United 1, Portsmouth 0. Gustavo Hamer with a goal on the 24th minute. Absolutely. When the players are back, I know. I heard this about when Bentancur returns. Right? I've heard this about when everyone returns. I just don't see it. I just don't see what these people are seeing. You saw what you could do with a fully fit squad at the start of last season. What about the start of this season with a fully fit squad? It was our worst start for 20 years. What about with a fully fit squad at the end of last season? He has failed with a fully fit team, Brad. So again, I know you don't like the facts, but the facts are there. The facts aren't your friend at the moment, mate. What you're saying you want to see has happened. Pat Tate said, "Oh, Millwall, we love you." Millwall beating Leeds 2-0 away earlier on today. John has said, "I was in a work van on the M62 when Wigan scored the winner. Still remember clearly for some reason. Wasn't it Callum McManaman? I want to say it was him. I might be lying. I might be making that up. Bonnie Rig Rose 1, Peterhead 2, Kieran Shanks, but he did score a goal. Dad joke. Terrible dad joke. Ryan G says Sheffield United 1-0. My Aka is going decent so far. Good luck to all of you with Akas. Daniel has said, Scott, because you say the guy is shit, which he is, and you use the pub-style leagues, he's managed it, and for the reason for him being trash, for start, I don't quite get that, but okay. I'll go with it. It's Bunny. Yeah, facts do not care about feelings. In Scotland, Livingston 1, Cove Rangers 1-0. Ryan McGowan has scored for Livingston. So lots of goals going in Scotland today. Big up to Red Back Spider. Thank you very much. Who has said Ange was a huge Liverpool fan in his younger days. I think he's a Klopp wannabe. Well, I can tell you this. The Liverpool fans would not want to touch him with a barge pole. Nick, you're a Liverpool fan and Australian. You're in the chat. Would you like him? Big up, Redback Spider. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. That's very, very, very generous of you. Yes, sorry. Yeah, of course it was. This was, the ginger guy, Watson in mid, Ben Watson, right? Yeah, sorry, where am I getting kind of McManaman? By the way, equaliser at Bramall Lane. Sheffield United 1, Portsmouth 1. Connor Ogilvie has scored an equaliser for Portsmouth away at second place, Sheffield United. Ian has said our biggest problem besides Ange is our non-existent midfield offers no protection to our defence. Absolutely. And talking about protection to our defence, I don't really think that's a link. But here he is. It's Mark, the Sheriff. How are you, mate?
All good, man. All good. How are you, mate? I know the dog's not very well, but big up to the dog.
Yeah, the dog's not very well, but hey, he's going to have emergency surgery next week. So fingers crossed. Crossed. Oh, here we go. Look at this. This is crazy. Are you saying because against the Ipswich and Brighton game, we were missing either Mickey van der Ven or Son, that's an excuse? Because one player was missing from our best 11. Come on, Brad. Have a day off, mate. Oh, Mark.
No, it mystifies me sometimes. I mean, this has got to be the worst Tottenham team I've seen.
Me too.
Not the worst as in squad-wise, but the worst performances, manager, the list goes on. It really does. I mean, we were rubbish in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to go a lot. I went a lot in the 90s. But even so, we tried. We battled. Every player gave 100% in every game. Going back to the Liverpool game, it was just, I heard you say it earlier. There's ways of losing a football game, and that is not the way.
No, mate, absolutely.
No. It's absolutely shocking.
I think you're bang on, Mark. Look, this isn't the worst team I've seen in terms of personnel. But it's amazing how we've gone from all of those saying, what a great squad we've built. Look how amazing these youngsters are. Look how good all these players are. We've got 2 players in every position. We're going to finish third. To, what's he meant to do? He's got no players. I just don't get it. What I'd like to ask is Brad, you've got to be kidding me. Van der Ven is our best ever defender. I can name you about 20 off the top of my head. What, Mark? I'll let you take this.
Is our best defender? Well, I would say Ledley King, Jan and Toby, without even mentioning my man.
Hang on.
Jan, Toby,
I can name about
Ledley,
20.
Yeah. Richard Goff when he was here for a year.
Richard Goff. Sorry, I know this is going to piss people off. Sol Campbell. Sorry, I know.
Well, yeah. Right. Well, I didn't want to mention him. I didn't want to mention him.
Right, I'll do it. Graham Roberts, Stephen Carr, Jonathan Woodgate. I mean, what are we doing here? Carl Walker. Sorry.
Oh God, yeah. If we're talking about all over the back four, goodness gracious.
Chris Hughton.
Stephen Carr, my lord.
Yeah, Chrissy Hughton.
Ah, what a player! Yeah.
What are we doing here? Our best ever. Look at this, Cyril Knowles.
Well, that's before my time. Well, it's not. It is sort of. I was really young for Cyril Knowles, but Mabbott definitely.
Mate, you've got to laugh when you see that. Yeah, Gary Stevens. Like,
Yeah.
when you see comments like that, it really takes away from anything credible now that this guy says. Anything this guy now says, I can't take seriously.
No.
What's he said? So he said,
we've seen some rubbish ones as well, mine, but
absolutely. Our best ever defender. Listen, I've still got my doubts about Van der Ven. I want to see what does he do. I want to see what he does when he's not playing in a high line. If I'm brutally honest,
I want to see what he does when these
class.
When these stupid tactics are gone. You know, the high line and having to run definitely. Gallas, he was a bit over the top when he came to us, wasn't he? To be honest, he was.
Did I like? Sorry, not this one. Did we like Davinson Sanchez? I think for me, the problem with Davinson Sanchez is there's another one who came here very hyped up. I actually thought he did okay when he had Toby and Jan either side of him in a back three. I think when he was playing in a back four, I think we saw how exposed and how weak he was as a player. Don't know what you thought about him, Mark.
Yeah. He's big and strong. You got to give him that, but like he never really had the technique or quality, did he? Oh, here he is. Big up, mate. Get well, mate. I thought you was ill, mate.
Not very well, Mark.
He wasn't. Like, obviously, I speak to him a lot, like off stream and that, and he's ill tonight for our show. But just get better, mate.
Yeah, get better, Mark. Listen, I hope you're well. Get yourself set up in bed. By the way, Altrincham 2, Braintree 0. And there's a few goals going in. Stirling Albion have scored against Elgin City in the Scottish League 2. And Arbroath are 1-0 up against Inverness, Caledonian and Thistle, which is the greatest name of any team in the world. They are 1-0 down at Arbroath.
Of course. And Yeovil 1-0 down as well.
Yeovil 1-0 down. There we go.
Yeah. Away at Dagenham and Redbridge.
Go on the Dagenham and Redbridge. Crew 0, Newport 1, Cameron Antwi with the goal on 33 minutes. I mean, this was a top centre half. This guy, without injuries, would have been one of the best in the world. He was brilliant. Yeah,
definitely. Well, and he scored the winner in a final. The last cup we won, by the way.
Yeah, he's the last. He's the last person to score for Spurs in a final.
Yeah,
in a winning final. In a winning final. Lee Young-pyo. Gosh, Lee Young-pyo used to do the same thing all game. He'd run up the field, get to the halfway line, cut inside, give it to whoever's in midfield. Every time, Lee Young-pyo. Gateshead have scored at Wildstone. Remember Wildstone, the old?
Yeah.
Who wants it? Who wants it? Who's having it? That guy. Brad has said, you've been too harsh on him. He isn't crap as you say he is. Yes, he is. Brad, I'll tell you why. Because even the stats with Mickey van der Ven playing are not good. This whole nonsense that it's all on Mickey van der Ven is crazy.
Is it? I'm sure you did it in a show. Is it something like 1 or 2% difference between wins?
That's with Van der Ven and Romero playing. Yeah. But people don't want those facts, Mark. It's easier for people like Brad to bury their head in the sand and pretend because it's copium. They don't want the truth. I do. Didn't he score an own goal and get sent off on his Real Madrid debut, if I remember rightly? Tony, you do know I'm not playing. You do know I'm not playing tomorrow for Tottenham. If I was, I got nothing.
Razor, there was another top player.
Who's that?
Razor
Neil Ruddock. Oh, I tell you what I do to have Neil Ruddock at centre half now.
Oh God, yeah. Well, he probably gets sent off every game, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. But again, Internet Vegetable, which is a great name. Agreed. Oh, this is what Mark was alluding to earlier. We've had
Yeah,
much worse teams,
yeah,
but they were organised better.
yeah,
Martin Jol organised his team, and he had people like Young Pyo, Stouteri. Who was it in midfield? Timu Tianu. He didn't
yeah,
have. He wasn't blessed with a brilliant team, and still kept getting us fifth, doing really well with a very mediocre squad. Right, Mark?
yeah. Oh Christ, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, Martin Yole was sort of the upturn of us. To be,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. He was the upturn of us. That's when we started becoming relevant with him.
Yeah.
We were challenging for the top four because for ages and ages before that, we were just like 9th, 10th, 11th, somewhere in that mid-table thing. A season would be over in February, March, and you'd look forward to the next one.
Yeah.
You might get to the 5th round of the cup, 6th round of the cup if you were lucky, but that'd be the end of it. We'd come up against one of the powerhouses and that'd be it.
I just don't remember. I don't ever remember as a Spurs fan being this disenchanted going into every game.
No.
I don't remember under any other manager thinking we've won one game in 8, yet our fans are going mad. Any other manager that would have done this, Mark, would have been gone, would have been sacked in any club in the world. It's just
ages ago.
baffling.
Ages ago. Well, for a start, like Levy historically, they'd have been gone ages ago for not getting top 4.
I agree. I agree.
I mean, but the thing is, these days, with the amount of money that cash machine stadium makes, because let's face it, the stadium is just a license to print money. That's all it is. The amount that gets raked in, like getting to Champions League money to that stage, it's not important anymore. When you've got the likes of, the boxing and who's been announced now, Rolling Stones, isn't it? And whoever else is going in there to do concerts and, and the rugby and whatever else goes on there. The money's not needed from the football side of it anymore. And that's disappointing, really, because it's a football club at the end of the day, or it was. It was, but it's not anymore. It's an entertainment arena now. And that's all it is,
I completely agree. And by the way, rest in peace to Justin Edinburgh. And Justin Edinburgh is the only player in the last 35 years for Tottenham to win 2 trophies. Don't know if anyone knows that little fact. Cool. He won in 1991 and 99, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. He played in 99, definitely.
Yeah, he was 91, 99. He won the FA Cup. He won the League Cup. He's the only Spurs player to have won 2 trophies in that time.
Did he play in 91?
He was part of the squad. Look, if I bring him up, look, Justin Edinburgh. There we go. Justin Edinburgh.
I don't think he played in the final. Trying to think.
1 second. Where's Justin Edinburgh? I just want his wiki page, please. There we go. Justin Edinburgh. If you go to his wiki page, it will tell you.
You might have
honours FA Cup, Cup 1991, League Cup 98-99, and the Charity Shield.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tottenham Hotspur, 2005. He won the FA Cup winners despite just featuring 12 league games. Yeah, I mean, but he was. He was in that team. He was in that team.
Yeah, I was going to say I was at the game where he got sent off against Leicester in '99.
By the way, an ex-Spurs player has just scored. Coventry 1, Ipswich 2. Jack Clark with the goal. And someone's just hit the bar for Portsmouth from 30 yards. What a great effort that was. I told you, never trust a man with 2 first names. Brian Graham has just been sent off after scoring. He's been sent off for Partick Thistle. Never trust a man with 2 first names.
No. No.
But yeah,
He obviously took his shirt off or something. Celebrated.
Pat Van Den Hel.
Yeah.
Pat Van Den Hel. Can you imagine Pat Van Den Hel defending now for us, looking around at all these pansies? Can you imagine?
Yeah. That's the players I want to see. People like Graham Roberts. Hard as nails.
Yeah.
Absolutely hard as nails. You know, even Steve Perriman. Steve Perriman, what a player. What a player.
They don't make them like that. By the way, Dortmund, for anyone that cares, Dortmund are 1-0 down at home to Stuttgart. So their poor league season goes on. Yeovil have equalised at Dagenham and Redbridge. Brett McGavin and Barnet in the non-league have just had Danny Collins sent off. Danny Collins, GE at the end. So Barnet are down to 10 men in their game. It's all happening. It's all happening, Mark. It's a good Sunday. A good Saturday.
Well, yeah. Well, it is because Tottenham ain't playing.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
At least, I believe is it 5 o'clock or something to kick off tomorrow?
It's 5:30, isn't it?
Or 5:30 or whatever. But that's even
5:30?
less time. That's even less time they've got to ruin my weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Body Rig Rose, my favourite Scottish team. They've pulled one back against Peterhead. And Stoke have pulled one back. Whoever's got Stoke in their acca, Lewis Kumas, son of Jason Kumas, on loan from Liverpool. By the way, no one's feeding me that information. I just know that. Just, you know how it is. Has pulled one back. Lincoln 1, Cambridge 1. James Gibbons has equalised for Cambridge away at... Do Lincoln still play at Sincil Bank? Play at Sincil Bank? Am I making that up?
Let's get me phone.
There you go. I'll Google it. There you go. Here you go. Sincil Bank.
I was going to say you're probably better on your phone than I am.
Yeah, Sincil Bank Football Stadium, the home of Lincoln Town since 1895, with a capacity 10,669.
I like grounds like that.
I love it. I love an old school ground.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, it's the worst thing that happened to my home team is when they moved grounds.
Yeah, it's.
But for a start, for me, it's right at the other end of the town.
Yeah.
You know, and secondly, the old ground, it was like one of those real wild, compact, wooden stands, like proper old school ground. And it had the famous slopey pitch.
No, completely agree, mate. Completely agree. Mark Taylor, yes, I have seen him play. Meh. I mean, meh is a great word, right? Meh. By the way, Everton 0, Bournemouth 2. Daniel Jebison, who doesn't get many opportunities.
Injuries, man.
Bournemouth are a fantastically run football team. I mean, their manager is brilliant. Their manager's absolutely brilliant. Everton 0, Bournemouth 2, and they march on.
I'd have their manager in a heartbeat.
Me too.
In an absolute heartbeat. And you just got to look what he's done with a club the size of Bournemouth. You know, their whole ground is smaller than our South Stand. You know, they've got a fraction of the income we got. You know, and look what he's done. And look what he's done with the way they're coached, the recruitment, everything. For a club like that to be even in the Premier League is a miracle, let alone stay there and compete at the top end of it. You know.
Do you know the funny thing? Do you know the funny thing, Mark? One of my mates has just messaged me and said, and he's put the two lineups for Everton and Bournemouth today. And he said, this is basically the Everton team that were 3-0 up against Spurs at half time. I think there's only two players different. And we went there, we're 3-0 down at half time.
Yeah.
Bournemouth have gone there with injuries and made changes to their team, and they're 2-0 up. And this is the difference. A well-organised, well-drilled team. Fleetwood 1, Cheltenham 0. Matty Virtue with the goal. Arbroath 2, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 0. Andy Winter has scored. Apparently, Johnny Summer is normally their penalty taker.
Yeah, well I had really the Leighton Orient game on earlier, on the TV and I was watching you on the laptop. And like Leighton, what a team Leighton Orient were. Just the way they were set up, blocked everything, threw bodies in the way. All right, Man City won in the end, but what a performance.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
As a fan, how proud are those Orient fans going to be tonight?
Oh, yeah. We'll put it this way.
Proud.
If we'd have gone and done that at Anfield and we'd lost out like that, I'd have said, oh, fair play. They gave it a go, you know. But no, there was none of that. You know, you don't mind losing games like that if you know you're the underdogs, if you know you're like the other team's far superior to you, but you throw bodies in the way, you kick everything out when you get a chance, you know, or everyone gives 110%, you know, you don't mind losing then. But the way we went out Thursday night, well, we just were not bothered turning up. As soon as they played You'll Never Walk Alone, the ref should have blown the final whistle.
Oh,
you know,
sure.
as soon as that You'll Never Walk Alone went on and the flags and the banners and that in the cop was waving, we just froze and gave up.
Oh, mate, we were set up wrong. The players' attitude was wrong. Everything was wrong about it. Players, manager, everything. And even at half time, by the way, Paul Walsh, I mean, obviously, Mark will remember, Paul Walsh, fantastic footballer.
Yeah.
Really talented footballer, Paul Walsh. Lovely long blonde hair as well at the time, if you remember. Yes, brilliant footballer. But yeah, when you looked at it, Mark, even at half time, I know that they were 1-0 up Liverpool, but the game was still 1-1 on aggregate.
Well, yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, go in at half time and give them the mother of all team talks. Tell them, go out there, fight, close down everything, be hard to beat. We came out and just looked dreadful. No guts, no fighting. No, we didn't win the first balls. We didn't win the second balls. We were just, I'll go as far to say, one of the worst Spurs performances I've ever seen.
I would possibly go as far as to say the worst. The worst. Yeah. For lack of effort and not even putting a fight up, it was horrendous. It was horrendous. I mean, it's like you said, I would have thought at half time they'd have gone in and you'd have had some sort of Winston Churchill speech at halftime. You know, get them up.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's what you needed. You needed someone to stand up, a leader in the dressing room, whether that's the manager, a senior player, say, look, we're 45 minutes now. We're 45 minutes. Just sit in, be tight, hit them on the break if we can. If we can nick a goal, we're at Wembley. But no.
Yeah, exactly.
But no.
By the way, Jack Clark, ex-Spurs player, he's got a second. He's got a brace today as Frank Lampard's Coventry are losing 3-1 at home to Ipswich. And that game, all the other games, by the way, are half-time. That game kicked off 10 minutes late, so they're only in the 38th minute of the game. Mate, you know, it was that kind of moment where you want I don't know if you've ever seen Mike Bassett, England manager.
Of course.
It's superb film. It's where you need that speech. You know when he's in the press conference in that.
You
film?
sent it to me, I think.
Yeah, and
there are loads of clips in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, and they're sitting there all having a pop at him, and he sits there and he just mumbles into the microphone. If you can keep your cool while everyone around you is losing theirs, and everyone just shuts up, and then he goes and we'll be playing 4-4-2. And where's I know I'm not saying that, but where's our rousing moment? Where's the manager? Like, I'd like to think that there were, you know, like when the boot was thrown at David Beckham or whatever, that I want the hairdryer treatment. I want the players running out of that tunnel at Anfield, pumped, hyped up. They kind of all walked out a bit like, you know.
Yeah.
And the worrying thing was, Mark, 24 hours before, we've got all of these Spurs fans going, gutted Arsenal, you've bottled it. And I'm like, whoa, hang on. Yeah. We're playing tomorrow night.
All right, yes, we were all happy. when that happened the night before.
Of course.
But you've just got to. I will admit, I did send someone I know some little cheeky texts and some WhatsApps. But but
It's your fault.
I've learned from experience. You know, go careful, because it's going to come back and bite you.
I've just never seen such a lackluster second half.
No.
And then when he started making the substitutions and everybody's moving position, and I'm like, what are you like? What are you? Every time he does something, he gets it wrong. Like
even the commentator said it looks like Archie Gray's going in midfield. Oh no, he's not. He's playing left back.
Yeah.
I was like, well, there we go.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Just the things before the game. Do you know what? I had a chat with my mate, not YouTube, and I said, I just got this feeling we're going to get hammered. And he went, look, I want to be positive today. He went, try and go positive. And I said, am I positive, negative or realistic? And he said, look, I know you're realistic, but go out there, tell everyone that you got, So I said, look, okay, well, look, I still think we'll lose, but you know what? I think we're going to lose 2-1. I think we're going to leave it all out there. I think we're going to see a real battling display. And every time I say something positive like that, Mark, Spurs just go and prove me right for all the other times I've said how shit we are.
Yeah.
And still, people were coming into my channel after the game going, but we knew Liverpool would batter us. Well, no, hang on. Before the game, everyone was saying to me, this is it. This is it. Ange is going to,
always wins in his second season. All this, all the usual catchphrases come out.
Yeah.
It's
George has asked this. It's a good question, George. Question for Mark and Savva. We seem to have lost 4-4-2. I understand football has evolved. Would you like to see it back? We've had great partnerships in the past. What I would say, George, is football goes in cycles.
Yeah.
Football like fashion, like music, like everything goes in cycles. Depending on the level of football, a lot of lower league teams do still play the 4-4-2. We see variations of a 4-4-2. I quite miss it. I felt that football was a lot more simplistic. The wingers knew their job. The two centre mids knew their job. You had one centre forward who was normally your big workhorse that could head it, and the other one who just wanted to get in and score goals. Your fullbacks knew their job. Your centre backs knew their job. Now it just feels, is he a 6? Is he an 8? Is he in 10? Is it inverted? Is he plugging gaps? And it's like, oh my God, just go back to being normal.
Yeah, I was going to say, at the end of the game, football is a very simple game. You know what I mean? If everyone knows their jobs and does what they got to do, you could play any system in the world is successful if it's well coached.
Yeah, for sure.
4-4-2 works, 4-2-3-1 works, 5 at the back works. Unfortunately, 2 at the back don't work. But every system.
You don't like the 2-3-5 formation? It's not for you?
No. Well, it's sort of, that's nearly Ozzy Ardiles' 4-5-1, and that didn't work either. No, 4-1-5, wasn't it? 4-1-5, Ozzy Ardiles, and that didn't work either. It was entertaining to watch, but it's not going to win you much. Yeah, here we go. Archibald and Crooks. Do with them now. Yeah, what a partnership. That is, I can remember them. I would have been like 9 or 10 probably. Yeah, brilliant. Crouch Defoe. You look at all the striking partnerships we've had. I remember we had 4 strikers at the club. Yeah. We had 4. Crouch Defoe, was it Keane? And one other, Berbatov, probably.
At one point, we had Berbatov, Keane, Defoe, and Bent, didn't we? At one stage.
Yeah, something like that. And then Crouch was in there as well somewhere, wasn't he?
Yeah, and then Pavlyuchenko kind of came in in and around that. Yeah. And now we've got Solanke, and then Richie, who I don't count Richarlison as a striker.
He's not a striker.
I really don't.
I put
I mean, look, Cole, Sheringham, York, Solskjaer. I mean,
the best
there
two
was
I've
none
seen
of
up
this.
front. The best two I've seen up front for us, Klinsmann and Sheringham,
Me too.
without a
Me
shadow of
too.
a doubt.
Me too. Me too. See, when people say Son and Kane, I don't see Son as a striker.
No, he's
I
not.
don't see Son as, when people say the best front two, Sonny for me isn't that. Sheringham and Klinsmann had everything. You had the out and out prolific goal scorer who had brilliant movement, brilliant in the air, brilliant finishing in Klinsmann. And he had an aura. And Sheringham for me, I've said this so many times, Mark, one of the most underrated footballers there's ever been. He was so intelligent.
Clever.
He's up
Yeah,
there.
I was going to
quicker
say
than
that.
everyone
Clever.
else.
Yeah. The first 10 yards was up there with Teddy. He was never fast. He was never fast, but his first 10 yards was in his brain. He knew exactly what to do. He knew exactly. And him and Jurgen just clicked immediately. Immediately. Like, unbelievable partnership. Unbelievable. Yeah. So, yeah, I agree with that. He's not a striker. He never has been. Son is one of them where Harry used to like flick it on or pass it, lob it over the top, and Son would be into it like a shot and score. Son has never been a striker. He's not a winger either. Let's get that in there. But this is where Ange has messed up completely because he never has and never will be a winger.
Cool.
Never.
Cool.
Prime
Sheringham Kane partnership. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I tell you what, I love the nostalgia of everything. And like I put in the group earlier, Mark, didn't I? I said, if anyone's got 7 minutes to kill, have a look at this this compilation of David Ginola. And when you watch I don't know if anyone watched it, but the compilation that Ginola was sent to me this morning, you just watched everything he does is just superior to any footballer we've got at this club now. Elite.
Yeah. Now, I went a lot when Ginola was at Tottenham. That is in the days when I used to go up any game I could. You could phone up for tickets and then get them. But to be honest, we were quite rubbish. To be honest, we were sort of mid-table-ish. And you could get tickets for virtually it. I used to go a lot at home, and I saw Ginola a lot. What a player! What an absolute player! Every time he got the ball, you could hear the crowd almost gasp, breathe in, because they were expecting something to happen, and 5 times out of 10 it did happen.
Oh, mate,
unbelievable.
Do you know what? Even just watching him with the ball, just watching the way he received it, controlled it, manipulated it, his power, his strength, his skill, his balance, right foot, left foot, control, the aura, everything about Ginola was wow. I don't watch any player at Tottenham. I don't remember the last player at Spurs that made me go wow. Maybe Bale. Bale was the last player that made me
probably.
go wow. Sonny's done some good things, but he's never made me go wow. Kane, out and out prolific goal scorer, but again, for me, he's not the maverick, but clinical.
He didn't do the wow things, did he?
No,
he didn't do something in a game where Harry Kane, brilliant goal scorer, obviously top of the charts now for us, but he did not ever do that wow thing.
No, never.
He never ever did it. But you only got to say like the Barnsley goal. That's the first one off the top of my head. That goal against Barnsley where he takes half the team on and just puts it in the corner in the FA. I believe that was the FA Cup. But unbelievable. Like,
mate, watch that compilation I sent in the group. If you get a chance later, Mark.
Yeah.
Right. I've seen many Ginola compilations. This one's brilliant because this one highlights everything. It shows you his passing range, right?
Yeah.
People think of him just as a skillful winger. Some of his passing range, inside of the boot, outside of the boot, him running into 3 or 4 players and coming out the other side with a football, purely because of his skill and his footwork. his ability. I've never seen a player, by the way. You watching that compilation? I'll tell you what. Let me put that compilation in here. Let me put that compilation in here for people to look, because I've never seen a player, Mark. The number of times he brought the ball down there, and then it fell right in front of him, and he's running at pace with the ball, and you go, wow. And then you get idiots that say things like this. Not this. Sorry, Daniel. Not this. Then you get this. Then you get this. Then you get this. Why do I care about Ginola tracking? Why? He's a maverick.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
No, I was going to say he didn't have to. He didn't have to. All right, yeah. Well, if you just stuck him at centre back, he'd have probably been the worst defender in the world.
Sure.
But that's not what he was on the football pitch for. You know, like, and you got to remember as well, when Ginola come to us, we were a terrible side. But Ginola, I believe, still won the 2 main football awards in this country in a crap Tottenham team. He won the Players' Player, and he won the other one in a crap Tottenham team, because Man United, I believe it, Man United were dominant then. And like,
I'm sticking it in there, by the way.
Yeah,
have a look at this when you get the chance. Obviously, once this stream finishes, guys. But I mean, I've just put the link in the chat. Hopefully that comes on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, mate, listen. Stop.
No.
Stop. You are absolutely chatting nonsense.
No.
Stop.
Can I ask how long he supported Tottenham?
I don't believe he is with a comment like that.
No, I was going to say, like,
Tottenham.
No.
What on earth?
No.
That's our fan base in a nutshell. Honestly, when you get the chance, watch that. He was just magnificent. He was magnificent.
Yeah.
I'm seeing people saying, what did he do for France? Again, people, look, you got to look at the football history. There was, when he played for France in a World Cup qualifier, he gave the ball away in the final third. The other team then went down the other end and scored. And then Houllier never picked him again. So there's you know.
And plus, France had an amazing team back then as well.
Serious question. Would Ginola have been as good if he had better players around him? Wouldn't he have been better?
Yeah, he'd have been better. 1,000,000%. Well, put it this way, right? I was just going to say, there's 3 players in my 50-odd years of supporting Tottenham that I've said wow about. The first one, obviously, the greatest player I've seen play for Tottenham, Glenn Hoddle. Yeah, the greatest player I've seen play for Tottenham, Glenn Hoddle. The second one, Paul Gascoigne. I had to say that, or Brian Daigle would be after me. No. But Gaz is up. The Gaz is up there with Hoddle for me. Not quite on his level. Not quite on his level, if I'm completely honest. Sorry, Brian, if you see this. And the third one is David Ginola. David Ginola, without a shadow of a doubt. They were the three. They were the 3 players that I've seen. They were the 3 players that I've seen. Whenever they got the ball, the crowd would expect things. You could tell the atmosphere changed in the ground. Split second, the crowd would be like, you know, and they'd expect things to happen.
Can I just by way of example, in the year that Ginola won double player of the year playing for Tottenham Hotspur, I believe we finished 11th or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I said that as soon as we started talking about Ginola, we were a mid-table, mediocre sort of rubbish team, really.
But Mark, he won double player of the year playing for a team in 10th or 11th, right?
Yeah.
That's the equivalent of someone at Brighton, Brentford, or Palace now, right? That's the teams that are 10th, 11th, and 12th. It's the equivalent of someone in one of those teams winning double player of the year.
Exactly.
For any younger fans, let that sink in. This is Ginola winning double player of the year, not having the luxury of playing for one of the biggest 4 teams in the country, right? But whenever I went to White Hart Lane, I
was there a lot.
Win, lose, or draw, you came away going, cool, do you see what Ginola did? Do you know what I mean? Like, just things
Yeah.
he did on the ball made you go, yeah. Now we've got people in our fan base going, is Kulu better? No. Is Kulu as good? No, he can't lace his boots. Like, there's no, like, what are we doing here, you know?
I'm sorry, but those players don't even deserve to be placed in the same sentence as players like that.
But Robert, I mean, oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, I mean, he shined at Newcastle as they challenged for a title.
Yeah.
And you do realise as well at Newcastle, by the way, anyone that's got Stoke in their ACCA, Stoke 2, Cardiff 2, Lewis Kumas has pulled it back. Sutton 1, Hartlepool 0, Will Davis with the goal. Bonnie Rig Rose have come from 3-1 down to 3-0. Lee Curry with the goal. And an Athletic 1, Dumbarton 0. The funny thing with me, Mark, is this. David Ginola, right? We want to find a way now, fans, to go, but what about this? But what about that? But I genuinely don't understand how we had one of the best players in the world, and we're trying to find ways, right? We're trying to find ways to say that he wasn't as good. I genuinely don't know what we're doing. I don't know why we have to do this.
No.
For me, one of the greatest players I've seen in the Premier League. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. Crazy.
Yeah.
By the way, FA Cup, Wigan won, Fulham won. Probably the most common name in the world. Johnny Smith has scored for Wigan. Wigan won, Fulham won. Johnny Smith.
But like, there's nobody at like Spurs that you can compare with some of them players that we've just mentioned. Nobody, none of them, none of them. You know, like it's like I said, Glenn Hoddle, without a shadow of a doubt, is the best player I've seen for us. That's only because I'm at my age. You know, I mean, you're probably a bit younger. Remember Hoddle, aren't you? You might have just about seen him, remembered him.
I caught maybe the last 2.5 years of Hoddle before he left. But again, I was at that age where the understanding of football wasn't as great. But then even as I watched Hoddle playing for what was it? Monaco. Swindon, Chelsea. I remember going, this guy's amazing. Like, this guy's just different.
I implore everyone in the chat now that's listening to this, not now, obviously. Wait till the stream's over. Don't want to lose Savva any viewers, but just put in YouTube Glenn Hoddle. Greatest moments. Greatest moments. Yeah. Honestly, the man was a magician. And if he was, now back then, 70s, 80s, the English way of playing was very rigid. Your midfielders had to be hard as nails. You know, they had no room for like your skillful flair players. Right? I think, who was England manager? Ron Greenwood? Something like that. And he didn't pick him. And he didn't pick him. Right?
It was 4-4-2, wasn't it?
It was.
I remember Hoddle said when he was getting picked, he was getting put out on the right. And it's like, well, I'm not a winger. I'm a creator. He's a playmaker. You know, he doesn't want to be stuck out on the right.
And there was no room for that in the England team at the time because they were very rigid in their systems. Yeah. If Glenn Hoddle was French, Spanish, Italian, he'd have had 150 caps easily. Yeah. I think he only got like 40 odd, maybe 50 caps for England. But like, if he was any one of those other nationalities, he'd have got 100, 150 easily. Glenn Hoddle, I implore everybody to put him in YouTube and watch his best bits. The man was sublime. The man was sublime.
Absolutely. By the way, there's been 2 goals in 2 minutes at Bolton. Bolton went 1-0 down at home to Crawley. Rushian, Hepburn, Murphy scored. And then literally 1 minute later, Geordie Ossie Tutu equalised for Bolton Wanderers. Salford are 1-0 up at home to Tranmere. Hakeem Adalukan has scored. So there are goals starting to go in. Just to remind you, Orient 1, Man City 2 earlier in the day. Really good performance from Orient.
I'll just answer someone in the comment. Sam here. So he the best to win nothing. I believe Glenn Hoddle won 2 FA Cups and a
European
UEFA
trophy.
Cup. Yeah. And a UEFA Cup.
What?
I don't know, Sam or something you put in there. So he the best to win nothing. 2 FA Cups, a Charity Shield, and a UEFA Cup.
Oh, mate. Listen,
so there we
unfortunately, when you get kids like this who are grown up with the internet and are absolute trolls, someone like Sam shouldn't be allowed to appreciate Glenn Hoddle. Do you know what I mean? Someone like Sam, he's not allowed to appreciate a player as that. I mean, look, can't compare that Rooney. I mean, first of all, that doesn't make sense. I mean, you ask Wayne Rooney what he thought of Glenn Hoddle as a footballer. You ask Wayne Rooney what he thought about Glenn Hoddle as a footballer.
Yeah. We'll put it this way, right? I heard things like when he went to manage Swindon Town, he was telling his team what to do with the ball, and none of them could do it. And even when he was manager, so he was getting on a bit, he might have been like, he'd finished his playing career. When they couldn't do it, he'd do it for them. He'd show them how to do it. And he'd ping it first time. Whatever he was telling them to do when they couldn't do it, he'd do it. Honestly,
you look at all those. Just quickly, Mark. Sorry, just really, really quickly. In the FA Cup, Wigan 1, Fulham 2. Another goal for Rodrigo Muniz. And then in the game I told you just now, where there was 2 goals in 2 minutes at Bolton, make that 3 goals in 4 minutes. Bolton 1, Crawley 2. Will Swan with the goal. Will Swan. So there's goals flying in everywhere. Oh, listen, yeah, absolutely, Foxy. Listen, again, unfortunately, you get people like Sam in football now. These children who don't understand what a good player looks like. They don't actually. These are people that look at players playing now and go, "Oh my God, he's brilliant." Nothing like the players we saw when I was growing up.
No, Christ, no.
Nothing like it.
Even the second best player that I ever saw, Paul Gascoigne. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like,
I had someone in here last year try and tell me that Bentancur was better than Paul Gascoigne. And you know when you just want to punch your own face? You know when you just feel like I should beat myself up because I'm listening to this? Just shocking football opinions from the kids of today.
Well, goodness sakes. I mean, if they're comparing Bentancur to Paul Gascoigne, then what's the point? You just will give up. Honestly.
You've got
honestly.
Sam, I'll give you one more try before I block you. You're being a dick now, to be honest with you, mate. It's the wrong channel to try and buy a dick. No, I don't know everything about football, Sam, but you came in here and you turned around and said you mocked Glenn Hoddle, one of the greatest players England has ever produced. And unfortunately, it made everyone see that you're a twat. Yeah, there you go. I said it. You probably don't even rate Gaza. To be fair, you're probably about 12 years old.
Well, yeah. I mean, and the thing is, I feel sorry for Gaza because the press basically hounded him, and they made him worse. You know, the press used to leave bottles of booze outside his house.
Yeah.
You know, just to get him. You know that they used to leave bottles of vodka and that outside because they knew where he lived, and they used to leave bottles of vodka outside, and so he'd drink it and go out and do something stupid.
Yeah. No, mate, absolutely.
You know, I mean, and it was one of the newspapers. I think I know which one, but I'm not going to say it. they were done for tapping his phone up.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Look, let's get back to some football. Football. By the way, yeah, Peter Beardsley was a very good footballer.
Yeah.
He was a little magician as well, Michael.
Yeah,
Great
definitely.
shout.
Definitely.
In the National League, Maidenhead 1, Southend 0. Will de Havilland, that's a great name, has scored for Maidenhead. Remember when he tried to save Raoul Moat? Yeah. Gosh, there's a conversation we're not going to go down. David Platt, obviously the goal against Belgium. If anyone,
yes,
you know,
that was right at the end. That was
someone
was being treated on the edge of the pitch, and Gazza asked to move the ball, didn't he? Because he didn't want to step on the women trainer that was treating someone who was injured, and he lobbed it straight on David Platt's head. That was injury time, wasn't it? Right at the end of the Belgian game.
It was. Spence has just scored. Not Jed Spence, Kean Spence. Barrow 1, Gillingham 0. Barrow 1, Gillingham 0 in League 2. Kean Spence with the goal. At the moment,
at least he's been freed.
Yeah, he's been free. Absolutely. Hang on. How many successful player managers can you think of over the year? Answers on a postcard in the chat, please. By the way, for Falkirk, Scott Arfield has a hat-trick. And by the way, anyone who had Stoke in their ACCA, they were 2-0 down at home to Cardiff. They are now 3-2 up. Lewis Baker with a penalty. And if I'm not wrong, that was Lewis Baker who used to play for Chelsea, I want to say, back in the day. I want to say Lewis Baker's from Chelsea. I might be making that bit up, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct with that. So Stoke 3, Cardiff 2 in the FA Cup. A long way to go, but Stoke could be forcing their way through to the last... Is it the last 16 after this round?
What are we on now? Is it the fourth?
Third round, fourth round.
Fourth
last
round,
16, last 8, last 4, last 2. Yeah. Kenny Dalglish. Yes, indeed.
Yes. Zidane as well. He won something, didn't he, with France?
Yeah, but he wasn't a player manager. He was talking about player manager.
Player. Oh, I thought you meant player and manager. Oh, all right.
Why was I timed out for criticism? You, Anne, you weren't timed out for criticism. You're being an idiot.
Well, it wasn't me.
No, it was probably me. Don't worry about it. I don't mind. If I block people, it must have been for a reason. The fraud. I think if you are calling David Ginola a fraud, you should leave my channel immediately. That's not an opinion. That's just absolute gobbledygook. Please, politely go away. I know why you were banned. You said I'm an Arsenal fan, you mug. I remember now. That's why you were blocked. You're lucky it wasn't a full-time blocking. K Bassi, why not? Why not, eh? Why not? By the way, in the Dortmund game, it's Dortmund 1, Stuttgart 2, but Dortmund have had a player sent off in the last minute. They've had Ryerson sent off in the last minute. In Spain, it's currently Athletic Bilbao 2, Girona 0. Obviously, Bilbao, one of the favourites for the Europa League, a very good team. In France, it's Nice 1, Lens 0. Nice 1, Lens 0. And in that game, just trying to see if my mate playing. You know what I'm talking about. Ndombele is on the bench so far. He's on the bench, Ndombele for Nice.
I didn't realise he was still playing. You don't hear of him anymore, do you?
He's at Nice doing bench work. So, by the way, Grimsby 1, Carlisle 1 in League 2. Justin Abikwu, he scored last week in the Bromley game that I went to see. Salford are 2-0 up against Tranmere. Hakeeb Adelakan has got a second. And MK Dons 0, Bromley 1. Ben Thompson with the goal. And Bromley, as I said, were awful last week when I watched them, but they are winning away at the MK Dons right now. Big up to Scott, who said Scottish Championship scores. Did I stumble onto Strasbourg Steve's channel? Every score. By the way, it is still Bolton 1, Crawley spree. Bolton having an absolute nightmare at home. Really good goal that. What a good goal that is from Russian Hepburn Murphy. He beat his man on the outside, drilled it low under the keeper, off the post, and it always looks better when it hits the woodwork and goes in.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Hoddle, yeah. Hoddle as a player manager, yes, absolutely. Hullet as a player manager, yes. Lots of people saying rude Hullet.
I can tell you a story about Bolton, since you just mentioned Bolton.
Go for it.
Do you remember when Gareth Bale went mad in the home leg against Inter Milan? Taxi for Maicon and all of that.
Yeah.
Right? The game after, we were away at Bolton. Right? After the game, now I only went on there. You can remember the shirt they wore, but for the Champions League, there was a different sponsor. Investec was on it.
Oh God, I remember Investec. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the sponsor. I think did it have a blue HP on it for the league games and that? Was it Hewlett? I've got the shirt upstairs. I should know.
Packard. That was Hewlett Packard, wasn't it? Yeah.
But for the Champions League game, it was the same shirt, but it had Investec on it.
Yes. I seem to. Yeah, we had a sponsor for the league and a sponsor for Europe, right?
Yeah. Right, that was the Champions League Investec. I went on the Spurs website just to see if I could get the Champions League shirt. This is after Gareth Bale had gone mad against Maicon, about half an hour after the game. And this thing popped up, tickets. So, what's this? So I clicked on it and it said, we have sent 400 tickets back to Bolton for the upcoming game on Saturday. Like, they will be available from the Bolton ticket office at 9 o'clock in the morning. Now, we were kicking off at 12 o'clock. It was the early game on Saturday. I left my home 4 o'clock in the morning, drove to Bolton, got there 8:30 in the morning. I was expecting, after Gareth Bale had gone mad, I was expecting there to be thousands of people there.
Yeah.
I was the only one outside the ticket office. It opened. I got a ticket for the away end, and we lost 4-2. Bale didn't even play. And I had 250 miles to drive home after we got absolutely pummeled.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's a long old
all
journey.
Down the M6, M5.
By the way, just quickly, Notts County 1, Morecambe 0, Charlie Whittaker with a goal. Colchester 0, Warsaw 1, Charlie Lakin with a goal. And by the way, guys, I'm seeing a lot of people. Listen, as Spurs fans, I know we want to give banter to Arsenal, but I think when we try and banter them about somebody as quality as Dennis Bergkamp, I really think we're losing the argument. Dennis Bergkamp, for me, one of the best players I've ever seen in this country.
He was a Spurs fan.
Whatever he was a special footballer. He was a top. Like when we say now, if he was in the Premier League right now, he'd be the best player in the league. He was top. So I think pick and choose our arguments when we want to debate with Arsenal fans. But Dennis Bergkamp's not the one. Foxy, you're right. When Bolton had that era, JJ Okocha, Zhokayev, Campo, Jardel, and Gotti. Yes. Didn't they have Christian Karambo as well? Am I making that up?
Well, I was going to say, I can't remember yesterday, so I don't know what went on.
Hang on. No. You know when you feel like you've got to check? If I've plucked that out of nowhere, then I'm my brain is better than I thought. Christian Karambo, I might have made that up.
No,
I completely made that.
No, I was going to say like the Arsenal team back when Bergkamp was playing. You got to admit that it was absolutely superb. People like Bergkamp, Henri, Perez. They're just
sorry. I was thinking of Middlesbrough had Christian Karambo because Middlesbrough went through that period, didn't they? Where they had Emerson, Juninho, Ravanelli, they had Hasselbank, they had George. Do you remember George Boateng?
Yes.
They had Gaza. Gaza played for Middlesbrough, didn't he?
Of course he did. Yeah.
Yeah. But Yeah, guys, I do think, by the way, in the Championship, Norwich 1, Derby County 0, Josh Sargent with a goal. Mate, I know, Queen Ellie, I know. They were terrible last week, and then they scored 3 midweek. They've scored again today. Yes, absolutely. But Bergkamp was absolutely ridiculous at football. He was
The shame
ridiculous.
was the thing with Bergkamp is that we could have signed him.
Oh, don't.
No. We could have done. He was a
I
Spurs
know.
fan.
I
He
remember.
was a Spurs fan growing up because he did he not come through the Ajax academy?
Let's have a look. Yes, that sounds about right. Let's have a look.
I think so. And
here we go.
And I'm pretty certain his hero growing up was a certain Glenn Hoddle, who's rubbish apparently.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
By the way, he only played for 3 clubs in a 20-year career. He played for Ajax, Inter Milan, and then Arsenal. And he had 79. He had 79 caps for the Netherlands and 37 goals. He won. He finished 3rd twice in the World Player of the Year, and was selected by Pele as one of the 100 greatest living players in 2007. Really good player. Dennis Bergkamp.
Spurs could have signed him because he was a Spurs fan. He probably still is, but like he was a Spurs fan. Dennis Bergkamp.
Oh, absolutely. By the way, there's been some goals. Bolton is where it's at today. Bolton 2, Crawley 3. Murphy has pulled one back. 5 goals in that game so far. Forest Green are 1 up. Joe McDonnell with an own goal for Eastleigh. Colchester 1, Warsaw 1. Teddy Bishop equalised. And Stirling Albion 3, Elgin City 1. Ross Draper with the goal. So there's goals going in all over.
I was going to say, I have got the TV on over there, but I can't see it because I've got the wrong glasses on.
This is an interesting question. Sorry, someone said, big up, Gaurav. Thoughts on Mateta? I think Mateta does a job, right? He's a big, strong player, gets goals. By the way, if you've got Stoke in your ACCA, it's now Stoke 3, Cardiff 3. So Cardiff went 2-0 up, then 3-2 down, and now Ruben Colwill with his second of the game has made it 3-3. So loads of goals going on in that FA Cup game. I think Mateta, Chloe, big up to Chloe, one of my favourites. How you doing, love? Hope you're well. I know you've not been very well, so I hope that you are feeling better. Let me know if you are, and I'll message you later. I hope you're well. Big up to Haz, my man, my brother. How you doing? Said nothing like cooking dinner to the tune of your eloquent voice. I think you're taking the piss out of me there, Haz. But listen,
he's obviously not talking about me.
He's still about you. My voice.
No, he definitely ain't talking about me.
It's either husky, South London, or they hate it. So it's one of those 3 things.
I'm sort of a cross between Jeffro and Stephen Merchant.
Stephen Merchant, love it. By the way, in League One, Rotherham 0, Shrewsbury 1, Taylor Perry with the goal. I'm watching it now. Hang on, go on, son, whip that in. Go on. Oh, keep going.
No.
Oh, keeper saved it. No. Oh, no, he hasn't. The player went running down the line, cut in, took his shot that bounced to the edge of the box. And the guy's kind of done like a scissor volley, if that makes sense, like on the edge of the box. And sorry to hear that, Chloe. Sorry to hear that. Hope you get better soon. I know it's been a couple of weeks now. This has knocked you out for, hasn't it? Loads of good players. Someone else said there, Mendieta was at Middlesbrough as well. Yeah, Mendieta was a really good player.
Yeah.
Do you remember they had Massimo Macaroni? Do you remember him? Anyone? Massimo Macaroni?
No, I can't, to be honest.
Forest Green 1, Eastleigh 1, Jake Taylor with a penalty. Jake Taylor with a penalty. Gareth, the Milan of the 80s, even if going into the 90s, was naughty. Just, I mean, remember that Milan team that had Baresi, Maldini, Van Basten, Rijkaard, Hullet? Gosh. I mean, and the rest. But wow, just so many good players. The Bundesliga's done for me this season. If we look at the Bundesliga now, as it stands, Bayer Leverkusen have just dropped points. After 21 games, Bayern Munich have an 8-point lead, an 8-point lead at the top of the Bundesliga. So Bayern Munich and Harry Kane should be winning that this year. Good job, Danny. I was about to say, where's Danny Kyriakou? And he's turned up like he's about to do his ring walk as a boxer. Look, are you all right, mate? You all right there?
I'm freezing, mate. It's
he is an hour and a half late, man.
Yeah. Can you two hold the fort? I need to go and give Frank some medicine.
No, you carry on.
I think it's 9 points as well. Bayern Munich are ahead. So
you're right, Danny.
Yeah, you're right, Mark. How
Long time no see, mate.
I know. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been ages. Yeah.
Someone else just said it in the comments. Looks like Harry Kane's going to get his first trophy ever. I mean, that'll be one for the books.
Well, it will be, won't it? I mean, let's be honest. That's why he left, wasn't it? To be honest.
Everyone who leaves Spurs gets a trophy. I mean,
they normally do, don't they?
Yeah, even Emerson Royale got a bloody trophy.
Well, yeah. I was just about to say, even the rubbish ones when they leave, they all win something, don't they?
Every single one of them. Wherever they league, whatever league they go to, they always win, regardless. I mean, even Ndombele won a trophy. I mean, Jesus Christ. He won 2, I think, even.
Yeah. Even Nuno, the manager, went to Saudi and won their league.
That's it. Ndombele won the Serie A, didn't he, with Napoli? Yeah. It just makes you laugh. Like, it really makes you laugh.
When is it our turn? It's got to be soon, surely.
Yeah, right. Under this ownership.
No. Well, but the law of averages says it must be soon.
So basically, another 25 years.
Well, bloody hope not. You might be here, but I probably won't be.
No, you still got time.
Well, I don't know. About that. I might be.
But whether or not you'll see Spurs lift a trophy in your lifetime.
Yeah. Well, they better get on with it.
Trophy. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
Well, you're in Amsterdam as well, aren't you?
No, I'm in London at the moment.
Oh, I thought you moved to Amsterdam. I was going to say, if you still live in Amsterdam, they better get on with it. They might not stay in yours either.
I still live in Amsterdam, but I'm just back in London for the time being.
Yeah. I only went to the dam once.
Good time?
It was all right. I only went for the Amsterdam.
I want to hear all about Mark's time in Amsterdam now, but
so do I.
Not live.
No.
Not live.
No.
Not live. How are you, Danny?
Yeah, all right. So
it was the Amstel I went for.
But what's that?
It was the Amstel I went for.
Amstel,
the lager.
Oh yeah.
Are you trying to say Amstel?
Yeah, he said Amstel. Yeah,
the Amstel.
Why are you saying it like it's 2 words?
That's because I don't speak English.
It sounds like you're saying the App Store, as in like the Apple Store or something. Like, I feel like the Amstel. What are we saying?
He said Amstel.
As in the beer.
Yeah, the
Amstel,
beer. Yeah.
Lager.
The lager.
Right, come in.
Apple Store. That's just up the road from it. All the cider and that.
Have Burnley just scored?
Yes. Southampton 0, Burnley 1. I can't see who because I got the wrong glasses on.
Yeah, they have. Yeah. And Ipswich.
Marcus Edwards
on his debut. It must be his debut, I think.
By the way, Ipswich are 4-1 up at Coventry. Yeah. Jaden Philogene has scored as well. So Marcus Edwards for Burnley, Jaden Philogene for Ipswich. And for anyone who cares, William Gibson has scored a penalty for Annan Athletic in the Scottish League One against Dumbarton.
Oh, I didn't realise Birmingham were playing Newcastle and Brighton, Chelsea today. That's going to be some good games.
Yeah, there's goals everywhere. I mean, Coventry have been well beaten here at the Building Society Arena. Jack Clark's got a brace today. Yeah.
How are you, Savva?
Kind of scored, didn't he?
Did Donnelly score a goal?
Well,
what happened?
Donnelly took a shot from about 45 yards. He's like a Beckham. Saw the keeper off his line. Lovely, dinked it all the way. It went over the keeper's head, hit the bar, then hit the keeper, and then went in.
I saw it. That's crazy.
So, unfortunately, the goal goes down as an own goal.
Yeah, that's annoying.
But
at least he scored a goal against Man City. It's not a bad shout.
He done well. It's a tough game. I mean, Man City had all the ball, as you imagine, but Leyton Orient were excellent. I thought they were absolutely brilliant today.
Well, we were talking about this when I come on.
Yeah, basically.
How would you give Tottenham to play like that Thursday against Liverpool? Even if we'd lost, but just put that sort of performance in, like none of us be on here moaning about it.
No. Did you guys? Brian Daigle was he put some stats out on Ashmatic's channel the other night on Friday, and I was listening to it, and apparently they were comparing our stats to Accrington Stanley's game against Liverpool. Did you hear that? Did you hear that stats?
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it.
I think that's just embarrassing, man. That is so embarrassing. Like, we were worse off in nearly every statistic, basically. And they even had a shot on target compared to us. And none. I mean, it's embarrassing, really. And do you know what the more embarrassing thing is, Sav? It was pretty much nearly the same team as what we played last year at Anfield. The midfield was the same three. So it was essentially our first team, right? Apart from, obviously, Porro and Udogie and Vicario, and the back five basically different. Everyone else, apart from Johnson as well, it was essentially the same team. So you know what people? I'm starting to look. I'm not Ange out or Ange in. I don't give a shit basically who's the manager at this club, because for me, I'm done with whoever's in charge. Like, no manager's succeeding at this club. It doesn't really matter to me. But I'm starting to see more and more like why people get frustrated with Ange and how he's just a bit clueless, basically. And to be honest, maybe it's a bit of just me ignoring the fact of what's actually happened with Ange in terms of how you just haven't seen really any change in his philosophy since back end of last season. Because let's be honest, that's when it started to really go downhill, back end of last season, second half of the season last year, and it hasn't really got worse.
This is when it started to go downhill, Danny. I stand by it. I will never change my opinion. This is when it started to go downhill. I knew you were going to bring that up.
Yeah, yes. And do you know what, Sam? I was at that game. I remember coming back for that game as well. And I remember because we started off the game so brightly, and it looked like we were going to destroy them. And then all of a sudden,
there's seven. There's seven Spurs players on the halfway line.
I know. It's madness.
After the game, people were going, brave. It was brave. Nah, let's find another word for brave, like dumb, stupid, ignorant, like arrogant. What were we doing?
Yeah, it was mad. And I just think that you can see it more and more now in his tactics. I mean, we can't really excuse it. It's the injury issue, because I agree when people say it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'll still be, look, for me, even if we have all our players back, I still think our form would change a little bit, but I'm not saying it's going to get dramatically better, which is what people think it will get. I think it will be like win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, kind of like how we were doing at the beginning of the season. Really, that's pretty much our pattern. It was like we never had a 2-game winning streak even, so it was just so inconsistent. And I think that's what will happen when we get the players back. We might win a few more, but we're still going to lose loads of games because the tactics are still shocking.
Danny, he has not he has not won 3 Premier League games in a row since December of 2023.
That's disgraceful, man. That is so bad.
That is
so bad.
We've had 2 New Year's Eve since then.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
We've
had 2 New Year's Eve since then, right? It's absolutely shocking. I think I've quit my channel and come back twice since then. You know what I mean? Like we've not won 3 Premier League games in a row, and people are going, you know what? I like this guy. It's like, why?
No.
Yeah,
why?
I don't understand it. I don't.
Why?
I mean, look, I'm not, like I said, I'm not Ange in or out. I really couldn't care if he gets sacked or not, right? But yeah, I just think that his tactics are showing more and more, and that Liverpool game, it was just the most embarrassing performance I think I've seen in the Spurs for a very long time. To not even have a shot the whole game on target is just, it's disgraceful. It was like, I think we said it anyway after the game, Sav. It was like he didn't know what he was doing in terms of, was he trying to play pragmatic or was he trying to go attacking? And regardless of which way, it was like he wasn't full on either or. It was just like bang slap in the middle, and it was recipe for disaster. It was awful. And yeah, to not have to win 3 games in a row since then is just utterly. A club at this level is disgraceful.
Yeah.
It is.
For a club that we're meant to be with the game-changing stadium.
The problem with it, right? The problem with this is the injuries in the last 2 months have almost allowed the manager leeway, because, as I said, I was bringing up stats and facts before all these injuries. I was bringing stats and facts in the summer. I was bringing stats and facts after the first 12, 13 Premier League games of the season, saying, look how bad this is. People said he'll turn it around. Now it's, but the injuries. But, I don't know if anyone remembers, I put together like the mother of all spreadsheets. I did an Excel spreadsheet where, I'll tell you what, shall we see if we can find it?
Yeah, go on.
Let's see if I wouldn't even know how to delete it. So let's have a look. One sec. I'm going to try and find my little spreadsheet. Here we go. Spurs manager comparisons. Do you reckon it might be that? Right. Here we go. I did this right. let's do this. Right. I did this. How do I do this? Present, share screen, window, entire screen. 1 second. 1 second.
I thought it was just me. I thought it was just me that was terrible with computers.
No, I've got so many tabs open.
Oh, I can't have that. No. I get confused. I was doing something one day and chucked myself out the stream.
Right. Can you see this? I put this together. Right. This was ages ago. This was before all of the injuries, etc., etc. I was saying, have a look at these stats for Ange in terms of win rate, right? Have a look in terms of how much he spent, average fee per player, the goal difference. Look at all the goal difference and the number of goals conceded compared to, this was their last 31 games. This was before all the injuries.
Yeah, and you see, he spent the most money out of all. Well, actually, second most. I mean, Pochettino, that's because he was there a lot longer. But if you look at like the actual comparison, he spent double what Conte and Jose spent in their time, more than double, nearly.
Mate, honestly, when I put this together, crazy. This was just everybody's last 31 games before they got sacked, right? And this was when I thought they've got to be sacked. This was when he should have been sacked, and he didn't. And again, it was like, look how many clean sheets compared to everyone else.
Yeah,
right?
It's terrible.
Defeats in the last 10. At that point, he'd had 6 out of 10 defeats. You think Harry Redknapp got sacked? He only had 1 defeat in his last 10 games. Right?
That's insane.
Las Boas had 3, and everyone was going, "Oh, he's got to go after we lost 5-1 or whatever it was to Liverpool." But this was, Danny, this was before the injury crisis, right? So all these people that seem to have this memory that doesn't exist of Spurs doing well before the players got injured. It's not true. It's not true.
No, I think before the injuries, right, we were still shit. Let's be honest. Like we were still inconsistent. Like we won like I said, we won a few more games, but we were still losing games. Look how bad our record was at the beginning. This season started the same way as it ended. If anything, it was actually worse. The only time it only got even more worse when we did start getting injuries, and then we couldn't even win a single game. We're just losing every single game. So I just think, I mean, look, I personally think they're not going to get rid of him next summer, in the summertime either, which, I mean, look, I'm all for changing the manager. I'm all for, I'd rather probably see a change, if I'm honest, in the summertime, because I think I can't really watch this kind of football anymore. But do you know what the worst thing is? I think the players actually are buying into it, because they seem to be, like, the statistics for how much the Spurs team ran against Liverpool the other night. They actually ran more than Liverpool did, which to me shows that it's not their lack of trying, right? I think to an extent they're trying, but I just think they're just so run into the ground, and there's not really an actual like game plan in place to actually nullify what the opponent is doing in a particular game, especially in a game like Liverpool, because as we saw, our midfield three were literally non-existent. They just were all over the place the whole game. They just didn't know. They didn't know what they were doing, and no one knew their jobs. It was just a joke. So
the thing is, Danny, when you're playing at Anfield, you're bound to do more running than the other team because they have the football. But you know, it's like Mark and I said earlier at the beginning of this game, that the worrying thing for me, I said before, it's not losing to Liverpool. I've seen us lose to Liverpool so many times in my life.
We've only won there 3 or 4 times since the Titanic was sailing.
Exactly. But it's the manner of the defeat. It's not one part of that game looked like we were in a semi-final. Not one part of that game did you think we're in a battle. I just thought Liverpool looked, I mean, how comfortable did Van Dijk and Konate look at the back? Like, at no point did those two look concerned by anything we done.
No.
And this is a semi-final of a cup.
Yeah, it is. I know I'm not trying to make an excuse or anything, but do you think Van Dijk should have got a red card for that elbow in
not for
Richarlison's face?
No, not. But by the way, he elbowed him there, right?
Yeah.
Richarlison did. He got hit there and went, oh. For me, look. For me, listen,
I mean, it was intent. It was intent. That's why you could see it, because he shoves him and then he goes for the elbow. So he was purposely trying to do it. But I still think, even if they had a red card, just say, I think look, it's one of those 50-50 ones, right? Either given or not. It wasn't given. But even if that was given as a red card, I don't think that would have made any difference to the game. My personal opinion.
I don't look. I think what we do, I'm not saying you here, Danny, but I think what we do is we get to this stage where, like, because Lubo did this with me straight after the game. Oh, but if they had the man sent off, and I'm like, can we stop putting 18 months of being shit under this manager into should so and so have been sent off? This handball. At the end of the day, it's just no. No, Reezy, by the way, this guy, he loves Ange. It's brilliant. Sacked Poch too soon. I mean, Poch had 6 years, by the way. Let's not get into that, Mark. I mean, Poch was here 6 years. Jose, look, whatever happened there. Nuno, sacked too soon. But this guy, it's not too soon. It's not too soon, Mark. This guy, is it?
No.
Late.
No. Wow.
Who would you take realistically right now as a manager?
Anyone? You.
Areola.
Areola. Would you take McKenna?
I mean, I like Silva at Fulham. I like Glasner at Palace. I like managers that can coach a team. Like
I'd take the Leyton Orient manager.
Yeah, yes.
The way he set them up the day, I'd take him, because Leyton Orient, honestly, they look like a team. bodies in the way. They look organised. When we play, it's just disorganised chaos. It honestly is. It honestly is. It's.
Do you know? I really don't like the Ange style in terms of go to the byline, cut it back, and then it's like the way Ange likes to play football. It's like FIFA, right? It's like like in the FIFA games where you go. I mean, I don't play FIFA. I haven't played console in a long time, but like when you used to go to the byline, do a little pass back, and you used to just tap it in. That's literally Ange's philosophy. It's like that. That is it. And the worst thing is, you've got players who are on the wings who can't really cross a ball in properly, and that's the problem. You've got players who can. I mean, the only player who's really decent at beating a man is Werner, but he's the worst player we've got, right? And then everyone else, they can't. If they do beat a man, which is not often, they can't pass the ball into the box. The only person who's can actually decent at crossing is Porro. Maybe I'd probably Spence as well, to be honest, but the rest of them are not that great. And what I get frustrated with is I have not seen since Ange's come to Spurs, how many long shots have any of our players taken? Like, not a lot. I've probably seen 1 or 2 goals outside the box in the Premier League, right? And that's ridiculous, to be honest with you, when you've got players who are more than capable of shooting from distance. But it's just like they're so drilled into playing into this kind of way, and it's really frustrating at times to watch. I think it doesn't this kind of tactic from Ange, this kind of philosophy or style, whatever you want to call it, it only works if you've got a squad full of 25 like Man City level players, like quality players. If you put like quality players there, and you take someone off and you can put someone who's just as good in that same position, right? Maybe it will work a bit better than it would at Spurs, right?
I just think it would be so wide open anyway, Danny.
Yeah.
I truly do.
You're probably right. It probably would be.
I think teams have worked out now that if you press, if you get in behind, not just Spurs, a lot of teams. By the way, Burnley have knocked out Southampton out of the FA Cup. Burnley have won 1-0.
That's not really a surprise, though, is it?
No, it's not a surprise.
No.
But by the way, look at this. Yeah, Scott Parker's team have conceded 9 goals in the Championship all season.
Who's his team? Is his team Burnley?
Burnley,
yeah.
Burnley.
They are top, don't they?
I think they're third, aren't they?
They're up there.
Leeds are top, aren't they?
Yeah, sorry, Leeds are top. Well, they were top.
Sheffield United, Burnley. It's all very close up there.
Yeah.
I agree.
Right? I'll be back in a second.
Ian, I agree. I agree. I think you can give him top players, and I think he still finds a way to mess it up. The thing is, I keep hearing with better players, this is what he'll do.
No,
he's never managed a top team with top players. How can people say that?
Celtic.
No, but top.
Well, Celtic are top in Scotland, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean a top team with top players. The problem is, Mark, as we all know, when you manage Man City, Liverpool, the Uniteds, the AC Milans, the Bayern Munichs, the Real Madrids, the Barcelonas, you're not just managing the team, you're managing the expectation.
Yeah.
You're managing the fans that demand. Like if Ange went to Liverpool and after 6 months people went, he needs time, the fans would go, nah. After a year, nah, he's definitely got to go. You think after 18 months at Liverpool, clubs would be looking at this style of play going, give him time? These fans would have hounded him out. We've got a load of fans now, a lot of online fans going, I really like Ange. He's really good. What's he good at? I don't know.
Says me a lot.
What do you like about him? Oh, we kick the ball forward. Right, okay, but what about the goals we concede? No, don't worry about that. I just don't get it. I do not get this love for how bad he is.
I'll tell you, Sav, why I think people like him, right? And I think it's because when we have played in certain games, sometimes our football has looked really good, right? But what we had the conversation with about, I think a couple of weeks ago, is that in the games where we've actually really played well, we've actually played more of a counter-attacking type of football in the games where we've actually really done well, right? Like the Man Cities and all that, and even against Liverpool at White Hart Lane in the Cup, right? Even that game, we weren't really all over them. It was more counter-attacking. And I think that's where people getting confused with Ange's philosophy in football. Because if you actually watch the games, right, the ones that we actually play our style of football, it's not often we go and beat teams. And if we have, it's been very, again, hit and miss. It's like one week we can play that football and it looks really nice, but then the next week they try to play the same football and it's the complete opposite. We just look absolutely atrocious. And that is the problem with Ange's football. It's not effective enough consistently. That's where the problem lies. Because I guarantee you, if Tottenham were giving that same type of effort and performance week in, week out, everyone would like to want Ange to stay. Because we wouldn't be in this position if we were consistently playing that way, right? And consistently giving that kind of level of performance. Then happy birthday, Tony.
Yeah,
happy birthday, Tony. Mate. Big up to you, mate. Everybody in the chat, happy birthday to Tony. Come on, you can do Tony. It.
Hopefully, Spurs don't disappoint them tomorrow. But I just think that's where the biggest problem lies is the consistency. Because, like, let's be honest, we have seen some games where we play good, right? But it's just we can't sustain that level of quality like over every single game consistently. That is the biggest problem. And I think
Danny, I can't remember the last time we played well. I genuinely can't remember
the last time we played well was probably last year, 2024.
I said it yesterday, Danny. This is what I said yesterday, right? Yeah. Yesterday morning. For me, the wins have become the anomaly as opposed to the defeats. With top teams, the defeats are an anomaly. When Arsenal lose a game, Liverpool lose a game, City, they're anomalies. I know City had that run this season. You know what I mean? They're anomalies. Tottenham at the moment, it's an anomaly when we don't lose a game.
Yeah. It's almost a norm now, isn't it?
I think our best game.
Exactly. It's the norm. And what we're seeing is every time Spurs win a game, you watch, we beat Southampton. That was like on December the 14th or something, or December the 12th or something. And everyone started messaging me, going, Savva's in the mud. The players are playing for him, right? Then we don't win another league game for 8. And that league game was last week against Brentford. And I start getting Savva's in the mud. And I'm like, hang on, we've won one league game in 8.
Yeah.
How are Spurs fans not spitting feathers at this?
Do you know what, Sav? It's what Singularity said in the chat, right? Ange ball is not sustainable at that intensity. Look at the players, totally knackered. And that is kind of sums it up. It basically is that the players are so run into the ground that they can't perform at the levels they need to perform on a consistent basis. And do you know what? What's happened at Spurs, right, is this is what I think, right? I think with Ange, right, I think he's being given let's just say the excuse to the board that, oh, look how many players we've got. If we didn't have this many injuries, we wouldn't be in this position, right? And the board will look at that and they'll be like, maybe he's right? But we know as fans that it probably won't make that much of a difference. So essentially, what the players being injured has done is delayed Ange's fate, in my opinion, right? That's, I think, what's happened. I think literally his fate of being sacked has been delayed because of the injuries. So they're giving him the benefit of the doubt because of the injuries, right? I think
so. With that in mind, Danny. So first and foremost, what does that mean in terms of how many of those injured players have to come back before we're allowed to judge him? How many games does he then get? Because
the thing is with the injuries, the thing is with the injuries is as soon as one comes back, another 2 go out.
Well, and so this is the thing. So what are we doing? Are we saying, right, I was told when Bentancur comes back into the midfield, we look more organised. We look shit in midfield. Bentancur's back.
What midfield?
So what do we do then? We say, right, when Van der Ven and Romero are fit, but when Romero and Van der Ven were fit, we were losing loads of games. So what are we going to do? Say, right, 5 games when they're back, 10 games when they're back? What the problem is this. Loads of clubs go through this, right? Like Bournemouth. Bournemouth are just getting on with football. Bournemouth are just getting on with it. I have not heard Iriola complain once. I've not heard Iriola. None of the press are getting onto him. He's not shirty with them in press conferences. He's getting plaudits because he's taken a very, let's be fair, it's a good-ish squad, but it's Bournemouth, right? And he's taken them to one, if I'm not wrong, I think that defeat against Liverpool was their only defeat in 14 games in all competitions, right? Players out injured. All their strikers are out injured. All their right backs are out injured. 2 of their centre-halves are out injured. They just get on with it and play football. At Spurs, it's, but what can you do with injuries? What? That's your job.
I will say, and you've got to remember, Bournemouth really shouldn't even be in the same conversation as Tottenham. No. If you look at the facilities and the size of the club, etc., Bournemouth shouldn't even be on the same page as Tottenham. But there's streets ahead of us. Streets. And a lot of that, you've got to give credit to the manager. The manager, the recruitment team, because Bournemouth, to me, they're like a sort of Brighton. That they're a Premier League club, but they're always going to be raided year after year. Teams are going to come in and take their top players, but they just get on with it.
They just rebuild. They just find new talent, and they get on with it. And do you know what's happened? It's kind of what I've been saying for a bit of time, which is I've just got this feeling that personally, this might be my conspiracy theory, but it's the way of the club or Levy and the board, right, lowering expectations of the fans to kind of say, well, this is where our level actually is, right? We shouldn't be competing at that high level. The managers that come in, they will just say, oh yeah, well, you should be challenging for this, challenging for that, right? But really, that's not what the board wants. So when a manager's coming in and saying all the right things or saying the right things, but then showing on the pitch completely different, and then the board are not showing the backing that he really needs, it's like a whole mix match of what people's ambitions are. One person saying, I want this. The other person saying, well, you can't have that, but you can have this. And he's still trying to say, then that manager's still trying to say, well, I can still challenge for the title. I mean, like, are you deluded or what? Like, honestly, it's like what's happened now is like we were a club before where it's when do we actually lose a game? It's like you might have the losses here and there, right? Or you might have a few draws, but your majority of the time winning football matches. Now, at the moment, for the last year at least 12 months, it's been when are we seeing the next win? Because it's just usually losses or draws, and there are very few wins. It's so bad. So look, I personally, as much as I don't care, I think it probably does need a bit of a change up in Tottenham, but I just feel that they won't sack him because he also is the man defending Levy. He's kind of giving Levy a bit of leeway because he's trying to take on all the blame for everything. And
I said this ages ago, Danny.
Yeah, he's got a lot. I said
it ages ago. Any manager at Tottenham is just that another shield in front because Levy knows. Levy knows full well if he gets rid of him tomorrow, say when we lose, 60,000 people in that ground will be pointing fingers at the West Stand at him, and he don't want that, and so that's why he's still here.
Well, the worst thing is, right, he doesn't have an Antonio Conte or a stellar name he could pull out the hat now, because when you've pissed off Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte in the way that he did, I guarantee you those managers will be speaking to whoever is put in charge of Spurs, right? And they're having conversations saying, do not work under this ownership because they will ruin your reputation. Yeah. Like, I mean, Jose, it's the only club he's ever been to where he hasn't won a trophy as a manager. I mean, that is sad, isn't it?
And he still mentions it.
Yeah, but it's sad.
He's never afraid to come out and say, look, I got to a final and he sacked me.
Yeah, it's pathetic. It's pathetic that out of every club that Jose Mourinho has managed, only Spurs is the only one he hasn't won something at.
Yeah.
It is
And
pathetic.
he was fantastic. Ian Rush
was amazing. By the way,
Yeah.
I've just looked, and so Bournemouth's last 14 games that included Chelsea, Newcastle, Tottenham, West Ham, Forest, Everton, Fulham, just trying to see anyone else, Wolves, right?
Yeah.
They've lost one of those 14 games, and the only defeat in 14 games, Danny, was Liverpool.
And they're the best team in the world at the moment.
So their only defeat in 14 games. And let's see, that was going back to, let's have a look. That was going back to
December?
What date was this? This goes back to the end of November. Their only defeats for November, December, January, and the first 10 days of February is a defeat to Liverpool. They've currently got 10 first-team players injured. Their 2 strikers are out. They've got 2 centre-mids out, 2 right-backs out, 2 centre-halves, 1 left-back, 2 wingers, right? And they are currently absolutely mental. They are currently 13 points clear of us. They are 1 point off Champions League football. And then we go, but Ange has had injuries.
And I'm not being nasty. And I'm not being disrespectful to Bournemouth because he's only down the road from me. So I don't want to, but like Bournemouth shouldn't, to be honest, in all honesty, Bournemouth shouldn't even be in the Premier League for the size of the club they are. I'm not being disrespectful, but the size of the club they are. But it just goes to show what proper ownership, proper club management can get you. I think someone put in the comments, Bournemouth's ground only holds 11,000 people.
Could you imagine if Bournemouth get into the Champions League?
Well, exactly. Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure their ground had come up to the standards.
They'd have to expand because of the regulations in Europe.
Yeah, I know there's strict regulations.
Even if they got into the Europa League, they'd have to do it as well, I think.
Oh, would they?
I think
I'm not being disrespectful to Bournemouth because they're a fantastic team. Fantastically well-run club.
Mark.
But the size of it, they shouldn't even be in the Premier League.
Mark, as I always say, right? If you had said at the beginning of the season, let's have a look at this. Let's move that big up, Has. Fucking love Has, man.
Same.
If we look at the Premier League table, right? Let's see. Oh, we can. I don't actually have to go all the way down, but I'll get us in. Right. If anyone had said at the beginning of the season, whose squad do you want, Forest or Spurs? None of our fans are picking Forest. I remember people saying to me, you think Spurs are going to finish above Chelsea? You're a mug. I remember people saying, you think we're going to finish above Newcastle and Villa? You're a mug. No one would have picked our squad, Bournemouth squad over ours. No one would have picked Fulham's over ours. No one would have picked Brighton or Brentford's over ours. Palace's over ours. But there they are. They're all above us.
At least you ain't got to scroll nearly to the bottom to get us in, no?
I know, just down to 14. Just down to 14.
Yeah. I remember the weeks when you had to go right the way down and it showed like the bottom team.
It's
if Savva showed the top team, it probably wouldn't come out of visibility.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Yeah, but no, it's true though. It's true. Well, I'm not sure. I think I predicted us to finish somewhere around 7th, something like that. 7th, maybe sneak the sort of the Conference League, whatever it is. But I certainly didn't predict us to finish even in the bottom half, let alone like 14th.
I would have said, I genuinely would have said mid-table at the beginning of the season, 8th or 9th. I would have said. I think I actually said 8th or 9th, but
Danny,
we're even worse than that.
Danny, this was me at the beginning of the season. Now, look, clearly I've got Spurs and Man United terribly wrong, but I remember putting this up for the first time, Danny. The abuse I got, people going, "Sorry, you think Chelsea and Villa will finish above us?" And I was like, yeah. Now you look at this. You look at that from my predictions there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the teams below us are above us in my predictions. That and people say he's not done too bad, and you're like, what are you? What are we doing here? To coin Perchy, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Can I ask you a question? Do you think he's going to get sacked in the summer?
I want him to get sacked tomorrow. I don't want him to get sacked in the summer.
I know you don't. I know you don't.
3 weeks ago.
But
I wanted him sacked 12 months ago.
I know you don't.
Who's going to win this one, Mark?
All right.
But let's look at it realistically. Realistically, do you believe Ange is going to be here till the end of the season, or do you think he's going to get? Yeah. Okay. So let's ask the next question. Realistically, do you think he will be sacked in the summer, or do you think? Yeah, I don't either. And I wouldn't mind if he is sacked, to be honest. I like I said, I'm happy to give it another go. I know no manager is going to work at this club anyway, but let's be honest, right? A manager who coaches the team and has actual tactics depending on the opponent you're playing, at least will do better with the squad that Tottenham have.
Oh, God, yeah. Can you imagine? Now, I've said this on many shows. Can you imagine if Conte was still here and he had this squad of players?
Oh, yeah, he'd be doing way better than Ange.
Oh, my goodness.
He'd be fighting for fourth, I'm telling you.
I mean, you've got to remember, all right, Conte plays 5 at the back, but he had people like Longley and bloody Davinson Sanchez.
He had Longley and Eric Dyer.
Yeah, Eric Dyer, Sanchez, and God knows who else was in there.
Hang on, he had Emerson Royale.
Well, there we
go.
Yeah.
Listen, he's not my favourite manager, right?
No, he wasn't mine either.
I like him.
But you know what?
I like him.
Mine was different because, as I always said to everyone, when I had to talk about Antonio Conte, I said from the first moment there was no point in him being here because he won't be given what he needs.
Yeah,
For me, this needs sorry, Chloe, this needs a Glasner. It needs an Iriola. It needs a Silva. It needs a Poch.
Yeah.
This needs someone that comes in, minimal fuss, and just manages and coaches a team. We've got a manager now that is now turning us into a meme. Every press conference, every soundbite is him arguing with the press. You know, like
it's who we are, mate.
Today, going, oh, that manager's had his 5 minutes of fame. He's had his 5 minutes of fame. What are you talking about, Ange? What are you talking about? Just stop. Just turn around and say, you know what? It's been completely unacceptable. I've got to change results. I don't want to hear, like, did any of you see this week? He's done the norm. We've done the norm. We've come out after this defeat. And it's, the players will learn from this and will grow. How many years have we heard this? We'll learn from this. Now, really? What are we learning from?
Yeah. The thing is, though, especially with Conte, right? The alarm bells rang for me when he come in with an 18-month contract.
Yeah,
you knew he wasn't going to be here. And you knew at the end there would be a mass explosion and all sorts would kick off because that's what always happens. Wherever Conte goes, he's loved at first and then he drops the mic, drops a bomb in the room and just leaves. And when he signed an 18-month contract, when he come in, what manager has ever done that apart from interims? A manager that comes in normally signs a 4-year contract at least.
Mark,
you know,
when he signed, just quickly, Danny, when we signed Conte, my first thought, my first message out there was top manager. And listen, he's not for me. Doesn't mean I can't rate him. He's just not my particular type of manager. But I said straight away, you're going to have 3 problems here. 1, this is a marriage of convenience.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Levy, who has made a boo-boo with Nuno, whatever, right? Made a mistake with Nuno, now needs to get the fans back on side. So Conte's a big name, convenient for him. Conte didn't have a job. There were no other big jobs available. This was convenient for him, right? You had an 18-month contract, which suits both sides, right? And you had a manager that was never, ever, ever going to work well with Daniel Levy.
No,
so from the beginning, I said, there is 0 point Conte being here because Conte is a win now manager. Conte is right. Let's go and buy some. Look at Napoli. He's gone into Napoli. They've backed him. He's going out and
Yeah,
buying wing
yeah.
backs, centre mids, forwards, wide, right?
And now he's going to win the league.
So when people are saying to me, but you didn't want Conte, it was pointless. You bring in a Conte when we should have brought in Conte or Jose, right? If we were going to be ruthless, and Mark, you won't want to hear this. If we were going to be ruthless as a football club, you bring in Jose and Conte when Poch failed to win the league, and we had that squad that everyone was scared of playing.
Yeah,
but we didn't. We brought them in when we were a mess. Clubs don't bring in Jose and Conte when they're a mess. They bring them in when they say we need to get over the line. It just wasn't.
All that was a PR stunt. Like I remember when Jose Mourinho, all the talk about when he wanted the job at Spurs, right? When Poch was doing really badly, and I remember it was at that Inter Milan charity match, or was it was it Ledley King or testimonial or someone's testimonial, right? One of the testimonials, and that's when Daniel Levy actually got introduced to Jose. And from stuff that I know, he told Levy at the time that he could do better with the squad. And I remember when he came in, right, and he was really enthusiastic. Like Jose really believed he could do better with the squad. After about a week of being at Spurs, he was like, "This is a lot worse than I thought." When he actually saw what was actually there, because and then he realized more about how the club's run, more about how bad the mess was at Spurs. And then he wasn't going to get backed in the way that he needed to, and he never did. And it's like, do you know what's funny as well, right? When you look at, do you know what? I'm just looking at Conte's last game, right, where we drew 3-3 with Southampton. And do you know who he had? So he played his usual 3 at the back, and then 2 in the midfield, the 2 wing backs, and then the 3 up top. He had Eric Dyer, Romero, and Longley, and Fraser Forster as our options for the back. And in midfield, we had Oliver Skip and Højbjerg, right? And then Ben Davies and Porro as the wing backs. And then Son, Richarlison, and Kane was the front 3. But he actually was able to bring on Perisic, Kulusevski, Emerson. We had Lucas Moura on the bench, Dan Jewell on the bench. So we had I don't know, like, I think our bench was maybe even better at that point. But the fact that we had a lesser team, in my opinion, apart from Harry Kane, right? He's the anomaly. We had probably a lesser team than what we actually put out the other night against Liverpool, if you think about it.
Look, I just think that when fans were saying, "Oh, we should have given Conte 3 or 4 years to build," Conte's not a 3 or 4 year build manager.
No, he was never staying there.
Jose Mourinho's never been someone that goes somewhere and says, "I'll tell you what, give me 5 years, I'll build." And this is where I think fans get confused as to what we are and what they want, right? If you want a 4 or 5 year build, you don't give it to Ange. Ange Postecoglou's never been anywhere longer than 3 years. So when people are saying he needs time, he's nearly 2 years into, forgive me, guys, I hate myself and I'm going to throw up in my own mouth for this. He's 2 years nearly into the project, right? That tells me, go on then, you've got 1 more year left, because that's how long Ange is at clubs. So all these people going, he's a project manager, give him time. Again, I like evidence based on what? Based on what? Ange isn't a project manager. Conte isn't. Jose isn't. If you want that, go and get yourself a Pochettino. Go and get yourself an Iriola. Go and get yourself a Glasner. Go and get somebody that isn't the guy you bring in to win things immediately, because we're not ready to win things immediately. We are not. We showed that yesterday. People going, you know what a good cup run. We could win it. And Liverpool have gone, yeah, see you later. Yeah, sorry. You guys are nowhere near ready to win a trophy.
No.
And for me, and this is, I get it. I get why people don't want to sack another manager, because it's too many changes. But Danny, in any other walk of life, if you're shit at your job, you get sacked.
Yeah.
Right. That, you can't keep a manager because, but this will be another new manager. Yeah, but he's doing shit. He's not doing well. What do we do? How long, what's the time frame for a manager that's not doing well? 2 years? 2.5 years? 3 years?
3 years max. 3 years max.
How long do you just say we're going that way?
But the worst, but that's the worst thing, Sav, is that we've actually got declined as Ange has come into the club. Like if you're looking at it from a statistical point of view as well, right, and also in terms of a footballing point of view, if you look at it from league positioning, where the club was when he took over, we've actually regressed. We've actually gone backwards. We haven't actually improved
Massively.
our foot. We've got more injuries than we've ever had, right, in the Premier League. We've got one
More
of the worst
defeats.
records. Yeah, we've got more defeats than we've had since, was it like 1998 or something, right? So a long time. We've got one of the worst records in terms of like our statistics, right? In terms of our goals conceded, where we are in the table. I think there's so many stats I saw the other day. I can't remember them top of my head, but we're like 19th or 20th in the Premier League in terms of certain stats, and it is so bad, and we're not improving at all. And all this thing about like the youth being given a chance, we all know that if our first team weren't injured, that none of those kids would have had any chance this season, to be honest. So yeah, I just think it's just something needs to change, and we know the ownership's not going to change, and we know that the ownership is still going to run the club the same way. So it's just we have to try and get lucky and get a manager in who's going to maybe at least give us a bit more stability and actually kind of be where Daniel Levy probably wants Spurs to be, which is that kind of 5th, 6th type of club. Because we're not going to be more than that under this ownership. That we have to get incredibly lucky, because you've got to remember as well, at the start of the season, I said we'll finish mid-table because I looked at that team and I was like, it's a mid-table team. Apart from 1 or 2 players or 3 players who could get into some top clubs, the rest of the team is bang average. It really is. It really is a bang average team.
I can guarantee you one thing, though. I can guarantee you this. When Ange gets sacked, which hopefully isn't going to be too long, Mr. Levy will pull a rabbit out of the hat and say, "Here you go, someone that will appease the fans immediately."
We'll probably get Areola in. I guarantee it will
get us
like
all on side, get us all back on side, so we don't like spit venom at him. He always does it.
But Mark, this is the thing. And if we put our hate for Levy and the owners aside, right, this is the thing. Most clubs don't talk about their owners as much as we do. Right?
No.
In the short term, micro versus macro, in the short term, micro, that's what he's got to do.
Yeah.
For those that love Levy, hate Levy, whatever, this is where we need Levy to act like a chairman with the best interest of the club.
Yeah.
And for me, I said the other day, I want my Levy back. And what I meant by that was, where's my Levy that sacks crap managers? Where's my Levy that pulls the trigger on managers? The one time I want Levy to properly sack a manager, he's holding on to him as we're getting worse and worse.
It's the one time you want Levy to be Levy, and he's not being Levy.
Well, we had this conversation earlier. Managers have been sacked for not getting Champions League. When the money was relevant, but the Champions League money is irrelevant now.
This is why I've got a weird conspiracy about Ange and Levy, because he's the only man I have seen, right? I don't remember. I'll be honest. I don't remember a manager coming out and publicly backing Levy and the board, right? In the way that Ange has done it, right? He has backed them to the point where he is literally putting every bit of onus on him. So that is his fault. That's his problem, right? He is saying it is my responsibility for where Spurs are. He's not blaming anyone else, right? No. Because he feels this job is too much of an opportunity to spit in Levy's face and tell the truth, which then gives everyone the perception that Ange is a yes man, right? And he's just doing what he's told. Because if Ange was like Conte, right? Ange would have done the same thing, would have had his outburst and walked out if he had any self-respect for himself in that way. Because in my opinion, he's made bad decisions, Ange, but he is accepting this. And him accepting this is giving Daniel Levy a bit more kind of breathing room in a sense.
Yeah, it's a get out clause.
Yeah, exactly that. Because he is saying it's not Daniel Levy's fault. They're doing what they can to help us. That's what he's saying. And it's just, you see what I'm saying, Sav?
Mate,
it's like he's taking.
Can I just ask you though? When the press start talking the way they are now, when the focus gets put on a manager the way it is on Ange, when you've got this volume of defeats, when you're 14th in the table, knocked out the League Cup, possibly knocked out the League Cup tomorrow, surely it gets to a stage where for everybody's health, owner, manager, players, fans, surely you get to the stage where you go, it's got to change. This can't be good for anybody.
No.
And my mate messaged me the other night and he said, Savva, let me ask you this. He said, probably a good topic for discussion. Can you name any managers that have done this badly in their first 18 months at a club that have then gone on to turn it around and be successful? And he said, the only one he said I can think of, the only one was Ferguson 35 odd years ago at Man United. He said he's the only one I can think of that turned it around. Can you think of there's my question to you two and the chat, a manager that's been this shit for 18 months when they started at a club and then went on to turn it around?
Well, most managers these days don't even get 18 months to turn it around. If they're crap after a year, they're up the road.
Not in the last 20 years.
Isn't that the point, Mark?
What was Arsene Wenger's record of the first 18 months?
I without even looking, I bet you it was a million times better than what we've just seen.
Yeah, it probably is. So,
even well, you know I'm going to mention his name at some stage. Pochettino, when he come in.
Oh,
Pochettino, he had a dodgy 6 months, but things was, and then it sort of took off.
Oh.
There was rumours that Poch was going to get sacked when he first turned up from Southampton, but he turned it around.
You know the difference, Mark?
Yeah, well, he did it within a few months.
After the first difficult sort of six months with Poch, we started to see that.
Yeah.
With this manager, so I did this the other day, and whoever was streaming with me went, "It ain't that, it's that." He said that it's like one of those theme park rides where you hold on, they go, and you, right?
Mm.
We are so bad. Like, we are so terrible. Bad. It's unreal. We're not good. We're not good from corners at either end. We're not good playing out from the goalkeeper. We're not good at fullback. We're not good at closing down. We're not good with shapes in midfield. We're not good when we attack. We are awful. And I keep hearing, but when he gets a few injuries back, how dumb do these people have to be?
When it comes to it comes to it, right? When we only go through against Tamworth in extra time. And they could have won it near the end, allegedly. I'm glad I never watched because it was my grandson's birthday. But I'm glad I never watched that game. You know, but by
the way, Sav, in Arsene Wenger's first 18 months, he got a place in the UEFA Cup and he won a Premier League title.
Whatever
in his first 18 months.
So similar to Ange then. Similar to Ange.
Yeah, similar to Ange. Yeah.
Like, this is the difference. Like, do you know what? I was listening to Lee Gunner last night and listen, I'm friends with Lee, but I know lots of people, he's Marmite to a lot of people, but Lee Gunner was talking about standards at football clubs. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes, and me and Lee have argued on this, sometimes I think he goes a bit harsh with it. Like after 2 months when we're saying our manager should be sacked. But after 18 months, no other Premier League club is putting up with what we've seen from Ange. They're not. No. They're simply not. No. So isn't it 24 defeats in like 54 Premier League games? Like, no one is putting up with that. West Ham.
Do you know what?
West Ham literally saw 6 months of a manager and went, nah, see you later.
The only team in recent years to probably have done it is maybe Arteta. Because his first 2 years, apart from winning the FA Cup, was shocking in the Premier League.
So with Emery's squad, man. Let's get that.
Yeah,
right.
But he did win an FA Cup, right?
Yeah,
but I think it was only after the 3rd or 4th season when they started to improve. So you could maybe say recent years Arteta, but look, they gave him what he wanted. That's the difference. They built the plan and they envisioned it and they gave him what he wanted. So he completely rebuilt that squad from the ground up, like completely.
We're at the stage where we wanted Lampard.
Let's not push the butt out too far.
Let Lampard as manager with Steven Gerrard as his assistant. Like it's look.
Just go to whole hog and bring Wayne Rooney in.
Yeah, right, sod it. Let's get the England band back together from the early 2000s. But like even my mate Chloe here saying Palace would have. She's a Palace fan. Palace would have sacked Ange ages ago. Like Palace would have sacked a manager by now, right?
Yeah.
West Ham did sack a manager by now. Leicester sacked their manager by now. Like Southampton sacked them. We're sitting there going, no, it's all right. It's all right. We'll keep him because you know what? He'll turn it around. Based on what? That's my 3 words for every football debate now. People go, but this. Based on what? Because I told you, Sam.
I think they've somehow managed to sway the board's decisions by saying, because if you listen to Ange's press conferences, he always refers to the amount of injuries we've had, always, right? So it's like he's looking for that get out of jail kind of card with the injuries, because he's literally every press conference you hear him, he has to mention something about the injuries. So it's like he's trying to really push out the narrative to the fans and to maybe people within the club that we wouldn't be in this position if we didn't have these injuries. But if you actually look at the facts, it hasn't really changed that much. Yes, we might have won more games, but what? So what are we saying then? Are we saying that we now, rather than being 14th in the league, we would have been 10th instead? Is that the difference, basically, if we had the players back? Like that's still not good enough.
At the end of the day, that is not acceptable for a club of our alleged size, with the game-changing stadium, with the facilities we've got, with the amount of income that we got at this club now. You know what, we were promised when this ground was built that we'd be up there challenging. And to be honest now...
Oh, no, we weren't promised that. We weren't actually promised that. We
were told the game-changing stadium will allow us to compete with the top teams as far as wages, transfers, like the players we can attract. And to be honest, well, look at the league form, it's completely the opposite.
Well,
it is.
Do you know? Yeah, it's a bit. It's a joke, really. But I mean, this is why. Look, I put money on this, right? If Ange Postecoglou is the manager at the start of next season, right, I'm gonna go far as and say that the reason he's there is because Daniel Levy is trying to lower the standards of what the fans should expect from Tottenham Hotspur.
He's been doing that ever since he's been here.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is he will still charge the same ticket prices.
Oh, yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if some stuff comes out around the renewal of the season ticket prices and then Ange is still the manager, or there's talk and you'll see paper talk about maybe Ange getting sacked or something like this if he's not sacked by then.
It always does, Danny. It always does.
I just honestly, I've just got this feeling, right, that's what's going to happen in the summertime. I think Ange is going to stay, unfortunately, right?
You wait in the summer. You wait till the summer when the transfer window's open. About a month before the season ticket renewal, I believe that's in about June or July, right? We will be linked to some world beater, some absolute world beater, and it'll still be going on when the season ticket deadline comes up. We always are. It's rinse and repeat every year. We'll be linked to someone really, really good, and we won't sign them just to get the season ticket money. I'll tell you, every single year, without fail.
I'll tell you now that I guarantee you we'll be linked with Guehi again, right?
No, or Harry Kane coming back. It'll be something like that.
Yeah, or something like that, right?
Yeah, it'll be some sort of major thing that's going to get all the fan, but it never happens.
Or we're going to, like someone said it in the chat, Ryan said it in the chat. Timo Werner signing a renewal on his loan deal, another year loan deal.
No.
Could you imagine if Timo Werner signs again on loan? I mean, Jesus Christ, that just
could we also imagine if everybody bothered to hit the like button or subscribe?
Yeah, exactly.
That would be amazing as well, wouldn't it?
Have you got many likes here?
We've been going for 2.5 hours and got 179 likes, which is a little bit poor. I think you're both right. You know as well as I do, come the summer, we'll start hearing Harry Kane links to pacify the fans. We'll try for Guehi, but knowing that one of the bigger clubs will go out and get him because they've got Champions League or because they don't offer £15 and a coupon to the club shop. You know, it's eat, sleep, repeat, and our fans lap this shit up not all of them. Some of our fans lap this shit up every single window.
Yeah.
We do it and they've just done it again with this window. Forget the absolute kamikaze panic in the last 4 days. They've lapped up a 19-year-old forward who's got 12 career goals. Right? Yeah. Now, I'm not saying he can't be a good player, but sorry, did we build this new stadium, go to Wembley for 2 years, pay what they pay for tickets so that we can go and buy 19-year-olds on loan on deadline day or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And look how in that window, Danny, Mark, look how in that window, what was the very last signing announced in the transfer window by any club across Europe?
Spurs, wasn't it?
It was Tell to Spurs.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
PR.
That's the memory people are left with. Spurs got a signing over the line rather than let's get this shit done in the first week of the window.
Help us out.
Help us out. We fall for it every time.
Yeah.
We fall for it every time. Danso. By the way, if I'm Danso, after that, my debut the other night, playing in that shit show, I'm going to my agent immediately that night and going, please tell me there's something. Tell me there's something in my clause that gets me out of here. Honestly, I mean, can you imagine? What must Tell and Danso be thinking coming into that on Thursday night?
The thing the thing that I was particularly disappointed with is that Danso and Tell was the only one trying to get the fans up and the fans behind him when he kept going like that to all the fans behind, like that was in the corner, and Danso was like, he was one of our best players and he's only been here 10 minutes.
I know.
Where was the rest of them? You know, that obviously no Ange ball in inverted quotes, whatever that's meant to mean. But like, honestly, as soon as they played "You'll Never Walk Alone," right at the beginning of the game or just before the start, our players should have shook their hands and said thank you very much and gone off, because it would have saved like 90 minutes like my life if they'd have done that. Because as soon as they played "Never Walk Alone," the ref just blew the final whistle and said, right, you have the game, Liverpool. Because we just went there, rolled over, they took with our tummies for a bit and said, on your way. And that's it. There was no fight, no passion. It's like the Leyton Orient game. I was watching you. I watched your show, Sav, and like I had it on my TV. Leyton Orient put everything into that game. Oh. If I was a Leyton Orient fan, I'd be over the moon with that tonight.
No, mate, absolutely. As I said earlier, Mark, as I said when I was doing the watch along for that game, you know, it goes to show that you don't have to have the best players all over the park.
No.
You need a team ethos. You need an ethic. Everyone pulling in the same direction. More than anything, you need to be coached and drilled. We are. Yeah. Stell says this every stream. We are not coached.
No.
People keep saying when the players come back, we still won't be coached. No. This is why if you talk to any of these fans about this aspect, Mark, they don't want to hear it.
No.
They don't want to understand that, well, we were wide open with Van der Ven and Romero and Udogie and Porro as the back four. We were wide open when Solanke was fit up front. Solanke's only missed two or three games up front, and already we're going, look at the difference without him. What? Hang on. With him, we were losing every week as well. What do you mean?
Yeah, but exactly.
Right? It's the revisionism for me.
Yeah.
I find it really.
No.
But also,
really
do you know what,
silly.
Sav? What's even worse? Like for me, where I started to have my doubts already with Ange was when we signed Brennan Johnson, right, for £47 million, because for me, that what I know as well, and I know so some of us know that literally was an Ange signing. That was him wanting the player, right? And what's more laughable is the fact that they go and sell him for 47 million, and look at the difference of where they are now 18 months later. They're now third in the table, and they're a far better team without him, and we've got the crap player that we've got, basically. I mean, I think he's just the most average player. I mean, to be honest with you, Brennan Johnson doesn't even lace Aaron Lennon's boots, in my opinion.
No.
And Aaron Lennon wasn't even a goal scorer, right? And he didn't have the most amazing amount of assists. But the problem with fans nowadays is they'll say to you that Brennan Johnson's a good player because he's got 8 goals or 7 goals, whatever it is. But they don't look at the rest of it, because the actual goals, it's like FIFA. Like it's like you could put like the most crap player, right, in the positions that Johnson has been in to score those tap-ins that he's done, right? And a crap player would do just as good. It's to score the same amount of goals just because he's been in the right position at the right time. But he's had 1 or 2 decent goals, right? For a player of his level, he should be scoring. But other than that, nothing really stood out the way he scores his goals. So it really does my head in when I see people wax lyricals about Brennan Johnson, because he is such an. I've said this from the moment I saw him. He just doesn't have a football brain. He doesn't, and I think a lot of our players don't.
Funny thing, Danny. Do you know the funny thing about it, right? Is all the people now that's not you, all the people now that say things like, "Oh, but Johnson, but Son, but Solanke, but this, but that player's not good enough." These are the same people doing videos in the summer saying we're going to finish third and be in a title race.
I know,
they knew the players we had available and made these outlandish statements. And funnily enough, they're all the ones that get on TalkSport, Sky Sports. Funny that, isn't it?
The thing is, the thing is with Brennan Johnson, though, is he's now this is what gets me with Ange as well, is he plays people in unnatural positions. Brennan Johnson was never a winger. Never a winger at Forest. He was an inside forward, which is like what Son is. Son is not a winger. Son is completely wasted on the wing. Brennan Johnson is not a winger. He's got the pace, but he cannot, for some reason, he cannot beat his man. Brennan Johnson is an inside forward. He's almost a second striker. But Ange seems to, he just sort of, it's always the square pegs and round holes thing.
But Mark, that's because this what makes me laugh. That's because he only knows one way to play football.
Yeah, he won't adapt.
And that one way of gung ho, wide open, 2 at the back, not worrying about defending, doesn't work at the top level. We've seen that. You can do that at Celtic. No offense, but when you are playing Motherwell, St Mirren, Kilmarnock, all of these people every week, no offense to those clubs, but you're going to win, and he's got the best squad. You come to Tottenham and you're playing against proper football managers with good squads of players. You are going to struggle, right? Now, the problem is, though, Mark, for me and Danny, it's how easily pleased we are as a fan base. Like, I'm seeing people the other day going, oh, my God. Like, I did a video saying Spurs aren't attractive, right? About 10 days before the window shut. Spurs aren't attractive anymore. People going, there you go. Look, you managed to get Tell over there. I'm like, hang on. A 19-year-old kid. And don't get me wrong, Danny, I'm not saying this kid could be the best player in world football in 5. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
But for me, being attractive isn't constantly attracting teenagers, right? That's not attractive. Attractive is, can you go out and get a proper footballer? Attractive would have been Mawani. We can't attract Mawani because bigger clubs go, yeah, see you later. Signing a 19-year-old who, by the way, some people think he's a winger. Other people think he's a forward. What God knows what Ange will do with him. I'm just so...
You probably play him in goal.
Yeah.
To be honest, who knows?
Oh.
Do
Well, look,
you know,
guys,
like with
I'm just sorry. In 2 minutes, I am going to end the show in 2 minutes. I'm knackered. I'll be honest, and I do.
I was going to say that
the dog.
there's a couple of super chats I seen float by. I'm not telling you how to do your job. I'm not telling you how to do your job.
I hate to break it to you. I hate to break it to you, Mark. This isn't my first rodeo. I know.
I knew that. I knew that. I just wondered if you'd seen him.
Do you know what Mark is? I'm Ange and he's Daniel Levy. He's trying to tell me how to do my job. Actually, no, that's a bad example because Ange needs to be told how to do his job. Mark is 100% correct. George, big up. Said thank you for the answer to my question, George. You've always been great for my channel. Nothing to say thank you for, my man. You've come back
and he's put ours in a couple of times.
And he said thanks
for our link in a couple of times.
Joining the show. Big up, George. Really, really do appreciate you. And Mark Taylor has said if we signed Tell, our forward line would have cost over 260 million on 5 players.
Well,
how many quality players between them? Well,
I worry about this.
But before we leave the show, then, by the way, Birmingham City have scored against Newcastle in 40 seconds. Birmingham City have scored against Newcastle in 40 seconds in the FA Cup. I kid you not. And
so are Birmingham better than Arsenal then?
Yeah. Look,
just saying.
On this is a great point. Mark, we keep hearing, don't we, that he's not been backed. So far, this man spent 60 odd million on Solanke, 45 to 50 million on Johnson. He's got Solomon through the door, Yang. He's got Odeberg through the door, Valise, Brennan Johnson. He's got Kulu, which was
he was it.
We don't know, blah, blah, blah. Look how many players, Solomon, look how many of these players have come in under him, Danny, for loads of money. And still we hear, oh, he's not being given forwards that suit his style of play. Makes no sense.
Do you know what? I worry because, when you heard Ange's press conference when we signed Tell, and he was like, don't worry, he's going to be a Spurs player in the summer. That is worrying for 2 reasons, right? Number one, if we are going to sign him in the summer after apparently we've already reportedly paid 10 million euros for this loan plus 50 million euros or 60 million euros additionally to buy him, right, as a player, that's crazy when it's not even a proven talent again, right? I think it's insane money. And the fact that the second part is that if we've spent 260 million pounds on strikers or forwards and not one of them could they couldn't even get into any of the top 10 teams in the Premier League. That's even more worrying to me.
No. Well, let's face it, right? Let's face it. He's only here because Bayern Munich owe us money.
Yeah.
For Harry Kane still. That's the only reason he's here. No, it is. It is.
No, I agree. I'm laughing because I agree with you.
Yeah, it is. Bayern Munich still have got Harry Kane's money amortized over so many years, and it will just save them paying one of them for a year or whatever, or 2 years, 3 years, whatever. So that's all it's done. It's just like, all right, we still owe you 80 million euros for the Harry Kane thing. All right, we owe you 70 now. We might owe you 10. You know what I mean? If you buy him.
Yeah.
But that's the only reason it's done. Because let's face it, this Tow's 19 years old. It's like you said, Sam. Who knows if he's going to be any good? Who knows? He's 19 years old. It's like the rest of these for the future players. How many players come up through the ranks and actually make it? The only one out of the Spurs academy, really, you can say, is Harry Kane.
Yeah.
That's gone on to be like top world-class player. Right, we've had the Skips and the Winks.
And before Kane, when was the last top one?
Ledley?
Yeah, Ledley King. And how many years was that? Yeah, Ledley King. I mean, Ledley King with one knee is better than every single defender we've got.
Yeah, and we won't mention the one before that because, for obvious reasons. Because somebody else.
Zia Campbell.
That's the one. Soulless, I think his name is.
have a look at this, right, Mark? Have a look at this. So this number on the screen, you can see the 270 million euros. This is Ange's first summer. Now, look, I get it. Some people will say, well, hang on, Porro's in there, but Porro's a player everyone loves. People will say, well, Kulu's in there. Well, Kulu, apparently Ange had said that he had given the yes that he wanted him. 272 million euros there. 175 million euros the next year, right? I mean, I don't know if anyone can add this up in the chat.
That's 400 more or less. Right. 272, 175. No, that's 450.
Hang on.
272 plus
175, that's 450 more or less.
272 plus
447, yeah. You're right. 447.
Hang on.
O-level mathsy. O-level maths, Danny.
Hang on. We're not finished yet. Hang on, lads. Plus 36. Right?
Yeah.
So, hang on. Hear me out. 483 million euros.
Yeah.
1 second.
440 million quid.
Hang on 1 second.
Sorry.
483 million euros in pounds. 402 million pounds. Right?
There we go.
So in full transfer, so he's averaging 100 million pounds a transfer window to take us 14th in the Premier League, right? To apparently have no wingers that play his way, to be left with only Solanke and Richarlison up front, right? It's to have no midfielders that for me are any good. What an absolute shambles.
Can I just say, can you imagine what Brighton would have done with £400 million?
Oh,
they only buy players for like £2 million a time.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
and
what.
then sell them for about 70.
I'll tell you what. Why don't we look at Brighton, shall we?
Oh, go on then.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's have a look at Brighton.
Craziness, Brighton. Absolutely. And you do realise their chief scout is the one that said he couldn't work for Levy.
Mate, well, could work. Do you know what the funny thing is? Newcastle have gone and got Paul Mitchell now as their sporting director.
I believe that guy that does all the transfers at Brighton is the one that said Levy made his job untenable.
No, that was Paul Mitchell.
Oh, that was Paul Mitchell, was it?
Yeah.
But the guy who's in charge at or does the scout or that at Brighton was at Tottenham.
Doesn't surprise me.
Or someone that has like levels.
Do you know what? Do you know why, Mark? Because anything good at Spurs is always turned to shit from Daniel Levy.
Well,
anything good that touches Spurs,
we all know
he will ruin.
Yeah,
he ruined our best chances of actually getting major silverware for a good number of years because
I've said for ages and ages and ages. The two years when Leicester won the league and the next year when Chelsea won the league, it's an absolute criminal offence that we never won at least one of them.
Yeah.
All Daniel had to do is give Poch, because the transfers weren't mad like they are now. If he'd give him £70 million, like 2 or 3 players, we'd have got over the line in both of them, but no.
Mark, I'll never forgive him.
But no. The new ground was that important. All the money went into that, and then we sloped off the Wembley for 2 years.
Mark, I will never forgive him at the time, right? For when Ericsson wanted to leave the club.
Yeah.
Right. Well, actually, before that, right, is to go and sign Bruno Fernandes. Right. We could have had Bruno Fernandes, Ericsson, Harry Kane in their prime.
We got Gedson instead.
We got Gedson. We got Lo Celso.
Yeah.
And we had a Lo Celso who, I mean, I would take Lo Celso right now, considering what we've got.
Yeah. Instead of Bruno Fernandes, we ended up with Gedson Fernandes.
Yeah, I mean,
it's absolute crime.
So
absolute crime. And you look at the players that Levy's missed out on by haggling a little bit and messing about. We could have had Sane, We could have had Sane. Could have had Jack Grealish.
Sane was actually at the Spurs training ground.
Yeah.
And so, sorry, not Sane. Mane. Sorry, Mane.
Yeah, Mane. No, that's probably the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, it was. Mane was
Mane,
actually at the Spurs training ground, and
Jack
also
Grealish. Jack Grealish.
Wijnaldum before he went.
Yeah,
Like,
Jack Grealish. We were messing about over a few million, and then the new owners turned up at Villa that had loads of money, and they said, "Nah, if you want him now, it's like 20 million or something. We could have had him for like 4 or 5 million."
do you guys, Sav? Do you know the Sissoko story?
What? That he's a shit footballer?
No, the reason why we signed him in the first place.
Oh God, I don't want to know. Go on.
Yeah, so I'll tell you this before we go. Right, there's a Sissoko. So in that summer when Poch was the manager, Poch wanted to bring in Wijnaldum. Right, Wijnaldum had visited the training ground. Everything was all set. Tottenham didn't want to pay the money that Newcastle wanted at the time, which was £25 million. Right, Tottenham were refusing to pay that £25 million. So then Liverpool came in and took him and got him. Right. And then obviously, because we didn't get him, we waited until the last day of the window, right? And we didn't have a midfielder. And at that time, we were desperate for a central midfielder. Literally, we couldn't do without it. And then Newcastle said to us, we could have Sissoko for £30 million.
Yeah.
£5 million more than what we were willing to pay for Wijnaldum, but we could have him for 30 million. But the reason we signed him for more money was because the payment plan was only 5 million a year we had to pay over a long period, rather than the big one lump sum that they wanted for Wijnaldum. So
that
the only reason we signed Sissoko was because of the payment plan it took for us to do the deal. It was a lot less output than it would have cost with Wijnaldum in one hit, basically. So that was literally the only factor why we didn't get the better player. Literally,
it doesn't surprise me. But by the way, guys, right? I've just been sorry. That was the vet calling me to let me know when Frank can have his surgery. So I had to take it. So Tuesday morning it is. Huh?
What's wrong with Frank?
They found a mass in his stomach, and they don't know what it is. They don't know whether it's cancerous or not. So they're going to have to operate on him on Tuesday, and they'll only know once they open him up.
Yeah.
So
good
obviously
luck.
the wife's
good luck, Dad. Yeah,
mate. I'll be beside myself. Spurs can do one if
yeah.
Anyway, let's not think about that. I've just been doing some research in the background, right? And during the same time that Iriola has been at Bournemouth, right? He's been at Bournemouth the same time that Ange has been at Tottenham, right? We all agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you say it's true, it's true.
Trust me, it's true. It's true. I wouldn't lie to you. All right. And then if we look at the Premier League table, so before he came in, Iriola, Bournemouth the season before had finished 15th, 5 points above relegation, right? So Gary O'Neill was sacked, and they bring in Iriola. In the time that Ange Postecoglou has spent £400 million, Iriola has spent £204 million, right? £204 million Iriola's spent in 2 years. He spent £200 million. So we've spent double what Iriola has at Bournemouth.
Far worse.
And we are far worse at everything than Bournemouth. That is absolutely shocking. Honestly, and if we look at Bournemouth's transfers, right, let's have a look. If we have a look at these, and we will go, I said we were going 15 minutes ago. We're still here.
Right.
If I do that,
my
wife gets so annoyed with me. I'm like, I'm finishing in 5. 4 hours later, I come down. If I look at this, right, if I had said to everybody, right, so this is their summer, by the way, this is their last summer. If I had said to everyone that we're buying Evan Nilsson, Sinistera, Anal, Houston, Krupi, Araujo, Sola, Paulson, right? Our fans would have gone, who? What?
Yeah.
The summer before, right? The summer before, right? Tyler Adams, Traore, Scott, Kirkes, Feather, Cliver, Aaron. Again, if I had said,
I'll tell you what, Alex Scott is a baller. He was at Bristol City.
Tottenham fan.
If I had said that's where £200 million of our money is going, what a save, by the way, the Newcastle keeper. If I had said that is where it's going, right? That's what our fans would have said. Shit.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, in that same time frame, I'm just going to look at what they've earned.
Well, 65 million of that was from Dominic Solanke.
Let's have a look. So this summer, right? Have you still got it on the screen? No, this summer they made. This is all the money they made this summer. 66 million euros, right? Of which 64.3 million euros was Solanke and 1.79 on Kiefer Moore. And the summer before, listen to this, the summer before that, they made 1.5 million euros, right, for Ben Pearson. So they've spent 200 million pounds, right? Hang on, and made, what's that? They've made 68 million euros. Hang on.
Yeah.
68 million euros in pounds. So
50.
they've spent, so they've recouped 56 million and spent 204, right? So the club have laid out of their own money, what's that? 150, if my maths works, right?
Yeah.
They've roughly 150 million. Now let's look at our shit club, right?
And you got to remember, that's a club the size of Bournemouth that's got a ground capacity of less than 12,000.
Mate, I'm not forgetting that. Right? If we
You
go
don't
to
look at
Spurs,
Brighton, mate.
if we go to Spurs, right? Come on, Tottenham. There's Tottenham. Come on, Tottenham. Come on, Tottenham. If we go to Tottenham, here you go, transfers, all transfers, right? So we've spent 400 and, what is it? What did I say? 402 million? 400 million? Right.
Yeah.
And in that time,
that was pounds.
We've recouped 55 this summer, right? 55 million this 55 million euros this summer and 120 million euros last summer. So that's what 170 million euros in pounds. So we've spent 60 million of our own money, and in the same time frame, Bournemouth has spent 150 million. They've spent 200 million compared to our 400 million. Right, I'm now going to look. Here you go. Sorry, I'm on a roll now, guys. I'm now going to look at Bournemouth player wages. Right?
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Because I hear that we can't be up the table because we don't spend on wages. So let's have a look. Here we go. Bournemouth's wages. What do you think their most expensive wages are?
It can't be a lot. 100,000?
Yeah, maybe 190 grand a week, something like that. 100 grand a week.
It can't be.
Right. Evan Nilsson is on 85 grand a week.
There we go. Yeah.
Justin Clivert on 80. Then they've got two players in the 70s, which is Ryan Christie and Kepa. Three players in the 60s. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've got 8 players between 80 and 60K. Everyone else is on 50 grand or less.
You've only got to look at you've only got to look at the income of the club. With a ground that holds less than 12,000, I mean, they can't go massive on wages because they'd be in like the FFP and or the PSR and whatever it is these days. You know, they break every rule in the book. See, this is where for a club with the supposed stature of us, with the game-changing stadium, with the unlimitless wealth that allegedly we've got, this is where we need someone like Bournemouth's owners or Brighton's owners or like recruitment team. Daniel Levy would love it because if you did the same for Brighton, you'd be astonished because they buy players for like a couple of million euros and they sell them for like 60, 70. It's craziness.
They spend 49 million a year on wages, Bournemouth. 49 million.
Well,
do you know how much? Hang on, let me get my point out. They spend 49 million a year on wages. Do you know how much Spurs spend on wages?
How much?
200, 300. I don't know.
We spend 110 million a year on wages, and bear in mind that's after slashing 30 to 40 million off our wage bill.
Oh, I forgot about that bit. Yeah.
So Tottenham Hotspur, look at the state of us compared to Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Bournemouth have a stadium that holds 11,500 fans. So this nonsense about, look what the stadium will do, it allows for this F off.
Our ground is 5 times the size of theirs, and they don't get the bloody boxing and the NFL and Beyonce and Rolling Stones and God knows who else to go in there either. You know, it's like I said, that stadium, right? I sussed it out the first time I went there. That stadium basically is a license to print money. It really is. Everything when you go in there is cashless, and so they ain't got to mess about with your change in the till. So it's like bing, off you go, get the next one in. The goal line bar, biggest in Europe, by the way, allegedly, right? That has got the capacity to serve, now, was it 10,000 or 20,000 pints an hour? An hour.
By the way, Nottingham Forest, 53 million in wages a year.
Yeah, well, there we go. Four million, exactly.
4 million more than Bournemouth. Right?
This new stadium, honestly, we were sold a lie.
So Nottingham Forest, let me get there, 53 million a year in wages. Half of what Tottenham spend. Again, look at what happens when you've got a proper manager.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
Exactly. What Tottenham need drastically is owners like Bournemouth have got, like Forest have got, like Brighton have got, that put the football first, right? Smart investments on recruitment, right? But, well, I'd like to think so. The thing is, the difference between us and Brighton, I'd like to think, is that we wouldn't buy them in for £2 million and then flog them for 70 million. You know, we'd actually keep them because they'd want to stay because we were doing something, you know. But
if you look at Aston Villa, right? If we look at what Aston Villa have done with just two, by the way, Newcastle have equalised, by the way. Newcastle are 1-1 at Birmingham. If we look at Aston Villa, right, look what they've done with two players in particular. Sorry, let me see. I think my computer hates me because I've got about 4 million tabs open of football stuff. All transfers. Right. So in the last, in one window, right, in this window just gone, right? Sorry, in this last year, Aston Villa have made 255 million euros, right, in sales, right? Now, if we look at that, Jadon Philogene, they signed him for 16 million euros in the summer and flipped him over for 24 million euros this window. So they made an 8 million profit with him playing about 4 games, right? You then look, Duran, they sold Duran for 77 million euros, right? When they signed Duran, let me see if I can find it. They signed Duran for like 16 million pounds or something, right? When does Spurs ever do that with anyone?
They don't. Never.
No.
Never do.
About the only one really, and he was here years, was Harry Kane because he came through the academy.
Sure, you know, but they're buying players and flipping them, Mark.
Yeah.
If you think of the profit there, they've made 10, must be about 7. They made 8 million profit on Philogene and about a 45 million pound profit on Duran. So they've made 50 odd million profit on 2 players that weren't even getting in their first 11.
Yeah.
Look what we're doing. We sell Winks for what? 10 million. Skip was what?
We hold on to players.
Profit, mate.
We hold on to players, and that's again Daniel Levy, because we just hold on to players.
Yeah,
and we don't sell them at the right time, like when we can cash in. Do you know what one of the worst decisions we did was when Man United offered us £50 million for Eric Dyer, and we turned it down.
Mm-hmm.
No,
when Eric,
sorry, this guy. I've seen a few of his comments in the chat are annoying me now. When you're saying the same fans start crying when we sell our talents, mate, they've sold 2 players that weren't even getting in their 11. It's the equivalent of Spurs selling Solomon, right, and Richarlison, for example.
Yeah.
2 players that Villa weren't starting. John Duran was a sub-striker, right? So when you're saying selling our talents, I'm all up for it. If someone comes in now and says Kulu, 50, 60 million, I'm all over it, mate.
Yeah.
I don't do this emotional attachment.
Well, let's face it.
Hang on. No, sorry. Can't be dealing with this. John Duran. How many games this guy start above Ollie Watkins in the last 2 years? How many games did... Can someone in the chat, please, find me, right? How many starts has Duran made in the Premier League for Aston Villa of all time?
Probably when Watkins was injured, I would say. Or, he was suspended or injured.
How can I do this? Let's say John Duran.
He played, was it one? No, wait, one match?
No, he's played more than that, but Duran starts for Villa.
Oh, sorry. 7 matches. No, hold on. Premier League 2022-23 is 12 matches. 2023-24 is 23 matches. And 2024-25 is 20 matches.
Yeah.
He has 7 goals in 20 matches this season.
Sure. And how many of them were starts? Sorry, starts? Why starts? Are you Enigma 93? Are you an idiot? Listen to the words we were talking about. They're selling players that aren't starting games for 77 million euros, right? And they are then putting that money back into the football club. When you're saying why starts, because starts will tell you whether or not they're part of the manager's plans for the first team or not.
Yeah.
It's mental. 4 to 6 games he started.
Yeah. It's not a lot.
Yeah.
It's not a lot at all.
But you were comparing him to Richarlison. We paid like 50 million pound. We ain't getting that back in a million years.
Of course we're not.
For a start, he can never stay fit. And I've always said your best ability is availability.
Yep.
He's never fit. And so where are we getting 50-odd million pounds?
Oh, Newcastle 2-1 up now, aren't they?
Yeah, Newcastle winning 2-1 for anyone that cares. Yeah.
But,
yeah.
For Richie, the thing is, what's
we'll
even
be lucky to get 30.
Right? I don't know, some people might not know this, but Richie had a chance to leave in the summer, right? And the problem was there was interest from Saudi Arabia, right? But the problem once again, was that the ownership valued him more than what the club were offering. Now, they were offering a decent chunk of money, but it wasn't what he wanted, which was around closer to the 50 million mark, right? It was more towards the 30 to 35 million type of mark, kind of around that price range. And yeah, the owner didn't want to sell him. And Richie came, they had a meeting.
Where was that
leaving. It was one of the Saudi clubs. I can't remember the name of the Saudi club, but it was one of the clubs. There was an offer on the table.
But didn't Richarlison say he didn't want to go to Saudi?
Yeah. So what happened was there was a meeting with Daniel Levy and Richarlison and the entourage in the summertime. And I think what happened was that they said to him that they don't want him at the club, right? And that there was an offer on the table, but he said he didn't want to go. And the club said that it wasn't enough for what they valued him at, and they agreed that he was going to stay. But essentially, they wanted to get rid of him. And I think that if Daniel Levy has accepted the offer, I think they would have got rid of him. But the fact is that Levy valued him more than what the offer was on the table.
Yeah, but did he want to go?
He didn't want to go. No, he didn't want to go. No. But I reckon they would have made him go if they accepted the offer.
Yeah, but you can't. But Danny, this is the thing: you can't make a player move to a country you don't want to move to.
Put it this way: he would have gone if they had accepted the offer, but they didn't accept it and they would have offered him astronomical wages, so he would have gone, right? But again, they didn't want to pay. Levy didn't want to sell him for what the club was offering, and I would have taken £30 million from him in the summertime, 100%. But
I'd take 3 million. I think he's one of the worst strikes I've seen in a Spurs shirt.
Same here.
I think it's awful.
He's certainly not up there with the ones I remember. Definitely not.
I agree.
Look,
I am going to leave it there. Enigma 93, please. You're annoying me now. Go away. I am going to leave it there, guys. Listen, thank you so much, Mark. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Danny thoroughly enjoyed it. Guys and girls, you've now got still an hour left to go and watch Birmingham versus Newcastle. And then I believe there's another game at 8, isn't there? Oh, my God. Enigma, go away. Go away. The whole point of my conversation was starts. You can have your own little conversation somewhere else. You're annoying me now. I am that close to moving you off the channel because you're annoying me. The point was really simple. If Aston Villa are making that sort of money for a player that isn't a first 11 player, right? That is good business for Aston Villa, was my point. Spurs can't do that. We can't. I think the most we made was Ollie Skip, right? But in terms of players that we buy, we're not turning over money on any. Who are we turning money over on, guys? When was the last time we made a really good profit on a player that was bought to Tottenham Hotspur?
Actually bought by Spurs.
So we signed the player, not a kid. We signed the player, as in they didn't come through the academy, and then we sold them for more than we paid for them.
Modric?
Well, maybe Modric, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I was going for more recent times. Like anybody recently?
Well, there's Bell in the comments, but like he was only a kid when we bought him from Southampton.
No. Hang on. Guys, I think we're all missing the point. I know about Modric and Bale. I'm talking about in the last 5-6 years. Have we bought anyone and sold them? Like, have we bought anyone for 30 and sold them for 60?
No, definitely not.
Right. This is my point. Have we bought anybody? Like, what did we buy? What did we buy Royale for? What did we sell him for? What did we buy Sissoko for and sell him for? What did we buy Bergwijn for and sell him for? What did we buy Roden and sell him for? Sanchez and sell him? We just don't make money on footballers.
No.
I think Sanchez, we very nearly have got our money back, but we still lost.
Let's have a look.
Davinson
Sanchez.
So.
No. Hang on. We gave 40 odd for him, didn't we?
Yeah.
We paid 42 million for him, didn't we?
Yeah.
Let's have a look. So Davinson Sanchez, according to Transfer Market, let's have a look at his transfers. 42 million to Spurs, and we sold him to Galatasaray for 9.5 million.
Oh, I thought we got more than that. Oh well.
No.
Let's name other players. Anybody? Who did we sell?
No one.
Carl Walker. I mean, we're going again. We're going back.
Yeah,
that's years ago.
Many guys. I feel like people are not listening to me in the chat. I'm not looking for people 18 years ago. I'm looking for the last 5-6 years. Who did we sell?
No one.
No, nobody. Nobody that we made a profit on.
It's
nobody.
Crap.
Yeah, no one.
We always get bit in the backside.
Oh, actually, no, Højbjerg. We haven't sold Højbjerg. He's on loan, isn't he?
They used to lower us money for Højbjerg because it was to do with
12 million obligation or something.
It was to do with.
Then he would be probably more because we signed him for 10, didn't we? Or
where did he go to?
We signed him as part of the Carl Walker Peters thing, didn't we?
Yeah. How much did we pay for that deal though?
Where did he go to?
Yeah. Was it Marseille? One of the French.
Yeah. Well, Marseille had reached the limit with like FFP or whatever it's called these days, and so we basically sent him there on loan with the promise that they'd give him the money when they could with the PSR rules and all that stuff. And so we might make.
So no, I think we might have lost money because we signed him for £15 million. So we wouldn't have made money. We wouldn't have made money on him when we sell him eventually.
It's a sham. Basically, guys, it's a shambles.
The Cookmeisters put in Steven Bergwijn, but
let's have a look. Let's have a look at Steven.
Maybe.
Steven.
I think we may have well, probably not.
Hang on, Steven Bergwijn. Oh, maybe if I spell his right name right. I always think that
he come in from. Was that Ajax he come from?
Hang on. So Stephen Bergwijn. Let's have a look. All right, Bergwijn, according to Transfer Market. Stop showing me fake stuff, please. Stephen Bergwijn joined Tottenham Hotspur for 31 million euros. And we sold him. And we sold him to our PSV to Tottenham. 30 million, 31 million, 1 million. We made a 1 million profit.
There we are.
We made a £1 million profit for Stephen Bergwijn.
Daniel Levy spent that on Beyonce.
Also, Bergwijn was another financial reason why we signed him in the first place as well.
I'm sure. This is what we do. But the thing is, we seem to then knock other clubs when they're doing well. We get too emotional as well. We get too emotional. Like if we had done that with John Duran, for example, at our club, we'd all be crying. For me, I'm all for it. If you can sell a player, right, and then bring in more players and make more money, fine, do it. But look, guys, I've been saying we're going for about 45 minutes. I've got to go. Much love. Take care, everyone in the chat. Thank you for the likes. I'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. And then we've got the main show at about 4 o'clock. So everybody, big up Danny. Big up to Mark. Please subscribe to the two Mark show. Take care. Much love. Enoch out, Levy out, and Ange out. But come on, you Spurs.